action plays right here.
Are you ready for some football? Yeah!
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Shock Joxx. It is Monday, October 12th. Absolutely, Monday, October 12th. And we had a lot of things happening in sports over the weekend. Another week of NFL football. NBA has come to a close. It's crazy to think. What started, what's this been, 2-3 months now, the bubble, it worked, and we were finally able to crown a champion. Not only that, baseball, postseason-wise, baseball was littered with the coronavirus, but we're making it closer and closer to World Series time. Big thank you to everybody that is tuning in today. Kevin will be in here in just a minute. Of course, I'm Hunter Yancey, one of the co-hosts here on Shock Joxx, Mondays and Wednesdays. For those of you who tune in and listen to us faithfully, we want to extend a big thank you to you as well. Whether we were on YouTube, you're listening to us on podcast platforms, or here on Facebook Live, a big thank you to all of you that are the faithfuls that come through and listen to us here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start in baseball land. That's right. Baseball, the NLCS officially starts today, and the ALCS officially started yesterday. So with that, the ALCS Game 2 is already today, and it's between the Rays and the Astros. We were asked Saturday who our picks were going to be to win that series. I said the Astros were going to win that series. Not right now, though. I don't really know. I think this is one of those series that could be a coin toss, really. Either one of them could win it. First game, though, was in fact taken by Tampa Bay 2-1. You know, so this looks like this is going to be closer.
Bang! What's up?
This is going to be a closer series than you would think. 2-1. Yeah, the only thing is Tampa Bay's pitching wise is what's really been the talk of Tampa Bay. Their pitching staff has been strong. The games that they have won, even against the Yankees, they were close nail biters. They never blew the Yankees out. They didn't have any problems though in the first round. So really, Tampa Bay, they had the best record in the American League for a reason. So this does not surprise me at all. The Astros have kind of been the surprise story, though. They get in games I think it was 1 or 2 games under 500, and they get into the playoffs. And from there, they've just decided that, hey, this is our moment. Time to come alive. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're hitting the ball fantastic. They hit the ball better than I expected them to, especially since they can't steal signs this year. They're doing a fantastic job so far in the playoffs. So that's why, to me, I kind of had to lean Houston's way, but it looked like Tampa Bay was going to be the one to take game 1 in this 7-game series. We are officially in 7-game series. First round, 3 games. Second round is 5 games. Now we're in the 7-game series, so Rays up 1-0. Then tonight is game 2. That'll be at 4 o'clock. And then the late night game, the first game of the NLCS, the Atlanta Braves and the LA Dodgers will face off. Max Fried versus Clayton Kershaw, ace versus ace. And I'm excited for that game. I really am. I'm more excited for this game than any of the NBA Finals games ever that happened. I can go ahead and tell you, I was hit or miss watching any of the NBA Final games, but I've paid really close attention to these baseball playoffs. And I think one thing I can speak to is this, and Kevin probably understands it, and a lot of you listeners probably understand it as well. You will pay attention more when you have a dog in the fight. You will pay attention more when you actually have, a little bit of skin in the game. And for me, and Kevin had this as well in the playoffs, he had St. Louis in. I had Atlanta in. So far, Atlanta has been able to advance to so far the peak of the National League, just trying to get over that hump and make the World Series. Whereas when you look at the NBA, and same thing with like my NFL, I will always watch the NFL games because it's exciting anyways. But for the NBA and the playoffs, like Washington didn't make it. I had no skin in the game. I didn't have anybody really that I was rooting for. So I was kind of hit or miss on that. But these, I find myself paying attention more, even to the Houston-Tampa Bay series. Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, we have just as good of a shot as the Dodgers do to make it to the World Series. I want to see possibly who we would be playing. I want to see who we might be going up against. So I've been paying quite a bit of attention, and I think the 60-game season.
God, she's loud.
Yes, she is.
I wonder if they can hear her.
Have
you ever listened and see if we could hear her in the background?
Not really.
You folks listening, watching. If you folks watching, I'm gonna point in the direction. In that direction, we have another radio show going on at the same time, and the lady in there. She has no volume button.
None.
Well, she might, but it's stuck on 9 or 10.
Right.
It's
Thank God. I hope that there's a condenser on her, or they've got the VU meter pulled down really, really low. That would be really nice because she's blowing eardrums out every time. Well, I don't know. She's just excited, I guess. She's just excited. But like I was saying, I think this is something, and Kevin, I know we've talked about it a little bit. I think this is something that baseball should really, at the end of the day, like after the World Series is over, you need to have a meeting and just look at each other and have a heart-to-heart and say, this season was actually so much of a success, and our ratings were actually higher than they've probably ever been because it was a 60-game season. I'm not saying you drop it to 60 games going forward, but you could probably do without the extra 62 and just do 100.
Yeah, I think 120 is probably 100 is a good round number for me.
That's what I'm saying. I just was like, cut the 62 off.
I think they could probably do 120 and fit in the schedule as far as the same months and everything. The ones that bother me is the NBA players when they complain about rest and they only play twice a week, or when they do play a back-to-back. Oh my God, the baseball players played every day. And I know it's different taxing on your body and stuff, but the NBA's kind of looked at the same thing. But do they want to get fewer games? But they've already expanded their playoffs, so it's not really affecting anything at all, really, as far as they're concerned. They would just be shortening the season or giving, no back-to-backs.
Right.
Now baseball though, it is a little too much. It's a lot too much for the guys. Just for fans in general, so not to pick on Braves fans, but you guys have been exhausting for the last 20 years. How long's Twitter been around?
10
years?
10, 12 years now.
You guys have really been exhausting on Facebook and Twitter the last 15 years. Like, I know some Braves fans, every single game, they'll tweet and text about. And I'm like, there's 140 more to go, boys. Like,
no, I can
let's
promise you
calm
this.
down.
I can promise you this. I'm
But
not
the
one
60
of them.
games this season,
Right.
I didn't have really too many problems at all with people, anybody tweeting or Facebooking or.
And I think the
whatever they
reason
do.
why I found myself, maybe mentioning them more on the social media is because it is, and I've said this to multiple people that have asked me, oh, you've been paying attention to the baseball this year. I'm like, yeah, because it's a sprint.
Yeah.
Like, this is not quite on the same level as football and college football where you can't really afford to lose one game. But at the same time, you really can't afford to just go on a 2 or 3 game losing streak.
How about in baseball? I know this is going to be some weird, funny, fuzzy math for you out there. If you could have a 40-game losing streak in baseball and still have the best record in baseball history.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could.
You could have a 40-game losing streak. You could go 0 for the first 40 and then win every game after it and have the best record in baseball history. That's what. You just think about how many games it is. Another thing, Hunter. We talk about these football players and baseball players. As far as games wise, the baseball players that are paid high, let's say the Trouts and the Betts of the get, they probably earn their money more than the other sports. As far as game wise, think about one season of 162 games. This is easy math to do. Patrick Mahomes plays 16 games. How many is that? 10 times. Mm-hmm. So they are playing 10 times more games.
That Patrick Mahomes is.
Now, whether or not, it's as physical for the linemen are different, but I know for the kickers and stuff, they could play 120 games.
Right.
That they're not. But I'm not saying play 40 games of football. What I'm saying is that the baseball, it's so many games, and the best part about it, Hunter, but again, baseball can't do something good without doing something bad. Too. So when they went to the playoffs, instead of going all 5 or 7 game series, they had this 3-game first rounder.
7.
That was just that may have knocked a team or two out that probably
but
won.
I'll just say this: it's better than just the one game.
Oh, absolutely, that's 100 times better than
yes.
The fewer
better
baseball
than the one game.
is.
I mean,
let's
we
think about
play
basketball.
series. It's
what
the
if
same
basketball?
thing.
They played one game, and the Heat, who won Game 5, won that one game.
I mean,
and that would have been
college
the championship.
basketball. All they ever do is
Right.
play one game.
That's what college does.
And technically, whenever they do the 16 and 11 game play-ins, they get screwed because they have to end up. It doesn't matter if they win that game. Mm-hmm. That was just to get in. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like whenever, what was it, last year, the year before, the Cubs and Brewers played game 164, or no, 163, and that was just to see who gets in.
Right, after they played 20 games.
Yeah,
in the
after
season.
they'd already, and after
That's what's
they.
so weird about baseball. They won't do tiebreakers.
Nah.
Like, we played 162. You can't find a tiebreaker in
Sorry,
there somewhere?
guys, we need you to come out here next
for
weekend, game
163.
163.
We need to waste your ace before the playoffs start.
163, yeah. Got to get that done.
Now, but football will go to like, what, 8 different tiebreakers on something, and baseball's like, we ain't doing any tiebreakers.
And not just that. The NFL is fine with ties, and I'm just like,
in baseball, Hunter, the Braves, let's say for example, could beat the Mets 15 out of 20 games. Mm-hmm. They'd be tied for first place.
Yes.
And they would have to play a game instead of saying the Braves.
Instead of looking at head-to-head and saying, whoa.
And then the Mets get hot and hit 3 homers. And
that's it. That's it.
But you're right that anything more than 1 is better. 3 is questionable, but I'll take 5, and 7 is the best on those.
Well, with this series that we've got going on now between the Astros and the Rays, Blake Snell was the one on the mound for the Rays last night. That doesn't surprise me at all. That's their true ace, and he came out pitching. The problem is, I will give the Astros credit. That's kind of why I picked them Saturday morning to win this series. Is like, look, they're doing this not only without stealing signs. We know of.
Not the way they were stealing signs.
Right.
They could still be doing it a different way.
They still could be, but let's just say they're under a larger microscope. Because so if they're getting away with this, they're working real hard.
All I'm saying, Hunter, is Belichick found a way.
Fine.
He didn't stop after the first time he was caught, did he?
Fine. They just deflated the baseballs. Fine. But some people forget though too. The Astros don't have Verlander this year at all.
Yeah.
He was out with injury, and Garrett Cole didn't re-sign with them. He is a Yankee. So for what the Astros are doing in the playoffs wise, I'm not talking about what they did on the season, because it showed that they really took a step back on the season, going 29-31, and all of their guys hitting possibly, 15 to 20 points under what they were hitting the year before batting average wise. But what they are doing postseason wise, they always say it, and I've been saying it for weeks. Why I like the Braves, you got to peak at the right time. Momentum's going to carry you, and so far the Astros have had it, but I don't know. Rays wise, I feel like they might have the better pitching core, and that's been the talk with the Rays the whole time. And if you look at the Rays series, they're not blowing anybody out. They're not blowing anybody out. So what is it? It's win ugly. You could quote unquote say win ugly. Just make sure that the other team doesn't score, and all we got to do is win 1-0.
So before the Braves throw their first pitch tonight at 8:00, there'll be 2 games already played in the American League Championship Series.
Yes. And see, I don't like that. I would have much rather both of these series started on the same day.
I'm guessing you don't know this is just random. You don't know the before postseason odds on these teams as far as, like, to me,
who was favored.
Well, let's say Astros have a losing record. Everybody in the world's pulling against them because they cheated. That would have been a great bet to make. Astros for World Series. If I'm a bettor, value bet.
God.
So I was just wondering if that was one of the lower ones or not.
I don't think the Astros were one of the lower ones. I believe the Rays were one of the lower ones.
In the 1 seed?
Yes, because are you talking about, though, are you talking about odds, though, when the seeds were made or at the beginning of the season?
No, but just either one. I know.
Because I remember.
I was just talking about playoff odds when they had a losing record coming in the playoffs.
Yes.
And everybody is.
I remember that was one of the things that I got really excited for, was when before the season was getting ready to start, and they put out, odds on who they thought was going to make it to the World Series. And it had the Yankees and the Dodgers up there really high, and it had the Braves. They were like tied for 3rd or 4th. So it was really interesting to me to watch for that. So that's what I was getting ready to find. I didn't know if that was what you were asking, because I do know that the Astros were still high on that list because of who they all had. Everybody was probably expecting them not to dip so low that they could. They thought they were still at least pretty talented without cheating.
Well, Hunter, they just announced the start times for these games.
Okay.
First pitches tonight, of course, 8:08. Tuesday and Wednesday, Braves will be at 6:00. 6:05 first pitch. So the KTC Broadcasting will pick up the pregame show about 5:30 on both those days. And then we'll move into it's 6:00 start time. So they just announced it because we were looking at them online and see they're not even posted on the Worldwide League
other
yet.
ones.
So
I just knew that
we scooped them, Hunter. We know before they do. KTC.
KTC breaking
news.
First
break Braves news.
Breaking news. But we did know that tonight's game was at 8, and we do know that it is going to be Fried against Kershaw. And I think that's going to be the best pitching duel this whole series will see, is Fried and Kershaw. And it's because both of them, the pitch that they lean on the most is their curveball. And it's one of those, 10-2, or I'm sorry, what was it? It's like 12-6 curveballs. Like the thing just dips hard on them.
I think y'all could be Kershaw's kryptonite. I mean, you got a good hitting team. There's nothing.
And see, that's why I think we can beat them, is because if you're taking BP or you're just taking live throws from Max Fried, I mean, he's already throwing what Kershaw's best pitch is, which is his curveball.
Yeah.
And so if you can hit Max Fried's curveball, I'm not going to sit here and say his is better.
Fried lefty?
I don't know. I don't think he is. I think he's right-handed.
You don't even know what hand Fried is. Hunter.
I don't pay attention to what hand they throw with. I just pay attention to their ERAs. He throws left. He's left-handed.
Okay. Well,
he is left-handed.
And there you go.
We're fine. We're fine. Look, I'm so confident in this Braves team that I don't care really at this point which one of our 3 we throw out there in game 1.
Wow.
If you do want to go ace against ace, that's fine. I
wouldn't.
But that's what they're doing now.
I'd throw Fried 2 and 6 and try to out hit him in the rest. I don't know. I'm just one of those that
Oh, it's not going to be Kershaw. The Dodgers are pulling a 2-6.
Yeah, Walker
Bueller.
is going first game. So that's good for you guys.
Bueller.
Put it this way, Hunter. You ready? I'm ready. I want to scare you. Tonight's a must-win.
I think it is.
Okay.
It is a must-win.
You got no.
It sets
no Kershaw.
the tone.
You got your ace.
It sets the tone. It sets the tone. I would much rather be in front than behind the 8-ball going against the Dodgers. I don't want to give them any unnecessary fire to light underneath them, that with them basically looking at us and saying, you have no shot now. Absolutely not. We can hit with the Dodgers. I'm not scared of that at all. Pitching-wise was the only thing that I had a question mark about until I started to see how these pitchers reacted postseason time. But I will give credit to everybody that has been saying this. This is the first true test in the playoffs we're going to have. Cincinnati, their offense had been suspect all year. They knew that their pitching was their ace. That, not to just throw a baseball term out there, but their pitching was their ace. That was their go-to. They were going to beat you with pitching, maybe beat you 2-0. But we hit their pitching. So that didn't happen. And then we just got so lucky that the Marlins happened to come through to play us, and we were averaging 8 runs a game on the Marlins on the season. So I can agree with people. This is going to be the Braves' first true test, but I'm not worried. And I will say this. I know you say this is a must-win, and I agree with you. I will sit here and say every game is a must-win. But if we lose tonight, I'm not going to lose faith. I think Ian Anderson could pitch just as good against Clayton Kershaw. The only problem is I just don't want this, the NLCS itself, not the playoffs, the NLCS, to be one of those moments where the light is too bright. Ian Anderson, all these guys are still so young, like sub-25. I don't know. They always tell you in the playoffs, experience matters.
Anderson pitches tomorrow.
Yes.
Against Kershaw.
Yes.
And then you got Kyle Wright on Wednesday. You know who they might be throwing?
I have no idea who they would be throwing. But this lineup for me, Fried, Anderson, Kyle Wright, I expected it. That's how we pitched against the Marlins. That was our rotation. So I'm not surprised.
All right. So there's some baseball updates for a little bit. Hunter, I want to thank our latest podcast listeners. I don't know if you've clicked on it, but our listenership in the past month has grown by 800%. 900%.
I love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see it. You love to hear it.
That's on the. That's just on the
podcast form.
right.
You love to see it. We would truly appreciate. I know we can't see you, but we truly appreciate those of you that are listening.
Right.
Feel free to follow us on KTC Broadcasting on Facebook. Follow KTC Broadcasting on Twitter. We post clips on Twitter as well. Our YouTube channel. We truly appreciate everything that you guys do for us when you do tune in and listen. It's always nice.
Of course, as always, like, subscribe,
yes.
share, follow, whatever you need to do on the podcast. Also, we're live on Facebook right now. That could change sometime. We post the highlights to YouTube. Just from what I've got, Hunter, we get more live on Facebook for the folks around here that know us, but the YouTube's good for getting it out and about around the world. So you can watch on either one of them. I post the highlights on YouTube. We was watching us accusing JP of lying this weekend earlier.
Yes.
Like that. JP does it. What he doesn't know, Hunter. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to explain to him what he did Saturday, but he did do another hand signal.
Oh no.
And I'm about 1,000% sure he don't know what that one means. And we'll talk about that later. I'm not sure if Hunter knows what it means.
Well, I'll tell you,
I think you do, but
I probably
it'll
do.
be. We'll have to. I think what I'm saying is that there's a chance we'll have to bring it up to him off air on Saturday.
Okay. Okay.
Because I don't think he's gonna get what he did. And then if I try to explain to him, I couldn't do it on radio waves.
No, And I think what we're going to do as well, though, for those of you that are listening, whether you're live right now or podcast form, we would like to have its own Twitter for Shock Joxx. That way we could post like little small clips on Twitter. I think that'd be really nice as well. But we've got some plans for you guys. But we're so thankful again for all of you that have been listening, whether it is live or in the podcast form.
And comments as well, Chris, Gene, anybody that wants to comment and give us a question. Sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. Don't act like we're not ignoring you. Sometimes we either don't get to it or like that.
Sometimes we do see it, and it's about 30 minutes late.
Right, we post on so many different things.
Yeah.
Is that trying to keep up and talk at the same time is a little tough sometimes. But thanks for you guys for all tuning in and watching us and laughing along with us with the silliness from the guys sometimes. All right, Hunter. So, any other comments on your baseball for tonight?
I'm just excited to watch the Braves, and, I haven't been in this position in a long time for sports. The only team that I've really been in position-wise to be like, hey, we've got an opportunity is Georgia. In college football, we make the college football Final Four.
Yeah.
We'll make maybe the national championship, SEC championship. And North Carolina in basketball. North Carolina in basketball has always been nice being able for their consistency. But for this to happen in baseball, it's a real treat, and I'm really gonna try and enjoy it. And I think it would be really nice. I'm pretty sure tonight I'm gonna go up and watch it with my grandmother because she's a huge Braves fan. She's got so many baseballs.
She's gonna be up till midnight.
She's gonna be up. Well, don't question my grandmother, Grandma. If you're watching, I will come and watch this Braves game with you tonight because I'm very excited for it as well. But she's got all sorts of baseballs that are signed. My late great uncle Glenn, he was a huge Braves fan at what is it called now? At Truist Park. He's got a brick out front. My family bought him a brick out, and they have a brick out front for like you can have it for memorial. So we have one for him there too. So it'd be really nice if they didn't have it in the bubble, and you could have at least 10 to 20% capacity at these games. It would have been really nice to have tried to go down for one of these playoff games. But you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy it. I've enjoyed the ride so far with the Braves. I'm just gonna enjoy it. And I'll enjoy watching the other game too. But it's just been fun. And I know obviously us and being affiliates, that's just more content to continue to bring to people. The deeper they go, the better it is.
More things we get to talk about. So, Hunter, game 4. I mean, it's 7 days in a row in the NLCS. And the ALCS gets, 2 days off?
Do they get 2 days off?
They get one.
Oh, you're talking about when it ends, though.
Well, I'm just saying just in general.
Because they're playing again tonight. The ALCS is playing again today at 4. Because I'm telling you, if they do have that set up, they're screwing the NLCS.
No, they're playing 7 straight.
Okay, good.
But they're just starting a day.
Yeah, they're starting a day early, and so the ALCS will finish a day early.
Depending on
maybe.
If the Braves sweep the Dodgers, you might be done early.
That's exactly. If I'm Atlanta, that's the goal.
All right, Hunter. Here's my pet peeve tweet of the night.
Okay.
The Lakers. You ready for me to say? You know
Finish.
what I'm going to say?
Yes.
You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me take this off. I'm going to say we're done with baseball.
We're done with baseball.
This stuff is so silly. Copywriters are just awful. All right, the Lakers win their first title since 2010.
It's been 10 years. not the 16 prior.
That's what I have to say. Okay, now do since 2000 or 90 or 80.
Yeah.
They've won their 5th title since 1980. I mean, I just hate it. For people that's listened before, what I'm talking about is sports thing. Inevitably, every time something happens, you can go on Twitter, Facebook, ESPN, whatever, and there'll be a headline somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll say, for the first time since. Lakers have won 17 championships. And they say the first time since 2010. What about the 17th time since 1967?
They don't think of it.
Well, they say for the first time since
ever.
Like it's just bad English.
For the first time since Michael Jordan bought the team. Well, that's the first time ever.
It's so stupid. It drives me crazy. I mean, it's because nobody ever says for the 3rd time since or the 5th time since.
know.
It's always for the first time since.
I know. I hate that too. And I'm just surprised most of these storylines did not say Lakers win title in year of Kobe Bryant's death. I was expecting those kind of headlines everywhere. And I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't, because this team did work very hard, quote, quote, sort of, kind of. They was a kind of an easy path. But that's beside the point. They went on to win the championship, but their goal was to win the championship whether or not Kobe did pass. It's just unfortunate that that's the case. So I'm kind of happy that that's not one of the big headlines that's going around. It's giving this team credit, not trying to overshadow them with what they did with the passing of Kobe Bryant. So that's fine. And I'll just say this. Hey, congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers. But that's all I'm going to say. That's it. That's all I have to say. Because, like I said to start the show off, I have been more enamored with what has been happening in the football world, whether it's college and pro, or the baseball playoffs, than the NBA finals.
For next year NBA talk.
Yeah, a request. Yes.
I'm making a request that the only NBA we talk next year, until LeBron is eliminated from the playoffs, is Hornets basketball.
We don't talk about any other NBA players.
There's no reason to. I mean, not if the referees in the NBA is going to do what they did this year. There's no reason to.
Oh, okay.
You got an 8 seed, a 5 seed, a 3 seed, and a 5 seed, and you beat a guy who's not in the top 10 in the finals, and now all of a sudden, here we go again. The greatest of all time. Kobe's year he died. Lakers in a ballroom. Hunter, I'd be scared to death if I was a Braves fan. LA's about to win all 3 championships. Rams, Lakers, and Dodgers.
Well, I picked the Rams to make the playoffs, so that'd be kind of nice, but...
No, I'm just...
I don't know.
This stuff is all silly.
I will agree with you that it is... You can raise your eyebrows with how the league officiates certain games than others in the NBA, because it is easier to sway that way than maybe other sports. Are we going to call it tight today? We're going to call it loose today? We're going to let them play? Are we not going to let them play? Is it an off-ball foul here? Is it not an off-ball foul later in the half?
Just the legitimacy.
There you go.
God, my son walks in here. I forgot how to talk. Of Game 5, Heat won. Game 6, the Lakers win by 30 or whatever it was.
They blew them out.
Like,
I am out
that
to
never
eat.
happens in
I am
any other
out to
sport.
eat, and it's like a 2-point game at the first quarter.
Right.
I get home and check the score. Heat are losing by 30. I said, what happened in the 10 minutes it took me to go from this restaurant home?
Some of the fun tweets I saw was LeBron beat was it 2 undrafted players and a D-League player or something like that in the finals.
Yeah.
And without their starter point guard.
Corey tried to play, but...
Dragic took 5 shots the whole series. Hunter, if we come in this series and I say Gordon Dragic gets 5 shots, what are you going to say?
Oh, a guy that was averaging like 20-plus on the season is only going to shoot 5 times? Okay.
Or either shot or only made 5. Either way, you're not winning that way. And again, we just want a competitive. Denver was way more competitive, yes, and they didn't play. They were missing their stars. Think about it. They beat Denver without their starting small forward. They beat the Heat without their starting point guard. They beat the Rockets with no center.
Right.
And they beat the Trailblazers without two of their players. Not stars, but one of them was a star. Rodney Hood and
Rodney Hood was out for the season.
Was Zach Collins?
Yes,
the other
Zach Collins. He was the other big man.
So they didn't beat a single team at full force with a real basketball team.
And then you could say, well, the Lakers weren't for a full force. The only person they were missing was Avery Bradley.
Right.
That's it. Now, nobody told me that Rondo was going to turn back the hands of time.
Rondo played
and
fantastic.
Just play fantastic.
Rondo did. He did. In fact, I think it was one of the games against Denver. I told someone, I said
he was hitting threes.
The reason they won that game was because of Rondo. It is weird seeing Rondo playing with LeBron.
It's weird seeing Rondo in a Lakers uniform.
All that, yeah.
He's the first player to win a championship for the Celtics and the Lakers.
Will the Celtics retire Rondo's number?
Probably not now. No. You thought the Celtics might have thought about retiring Ray Allen's number? Not anymore.
No, those two.
He went to the Heat. I mean, it's funny. It's funny in basketball. But now that brings up the point with you saying retiring jerseys. So LeBron's done it now with the Lakers. Does he get a statue? Does he get his number retired?
No. Where?
That's what I'm saying. Where, like, is it a Laker? Is it in Cleveland? The only place I think that would retire his number is Cleveland. But even then, he screwed him twice.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he brought him a championship, but he screwed him twice.
Well,
and I want to really elaborate on this because I don't think people really give enough credit to what kind of a general manager LeBron James really is.
Did you see?
Because he shipped off that whole Lakers team practically outside of Kyle Kuzma that didn't make the playoffs without him last year and brought in all of his buddies this year.
Are they the champs if the Warriors are healthy this year?
They can't outshoot the Warriors, so I don't know. I don't know because I haven't.
Think about this.
I can't say that because I don't know what the Warriors look like post Kevin Durant with everything else that they have.
Would you be surprised if next year's finals was Nets Warriors?
No.
That's two teams that didn't even play in the playoffs this year.
Well, the Nets played, but
that's two teams that did not play in the ballroom playoff in the hotel playoffs this year. Whoever the hell they were running out there was not the Brooklyn Nets. Now, whether or not Kyrie's a moron with this I don't need a coach type thing.
Damn, he's an idiot.
And listen, let me say something about Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant may be the most talented offensive scoring basketball player we've ever seen in the history of basketball. With that said, when we say LeBron don't have that Jordan thing, Kevin Durant don't have that Jordan thing.
No, he's not a killer.
When they played in that first finals, Hunter, I was like, we're going to see 7 finals between LeBron and Durant. And Durant, and that when we get to that finals, I used to play on those NBA games. I love Kevin Durant. Coming out of college, everything. This is the team. And in that finals, Harden ball hauled like crazy, and Durant deferred to those two. And for years, I said, you can't have someone other than Kevin Durant taking more shots than Kevin Durant.
You people forget, even Steph Curry let Kevin Durant take more shots than he did.
It was very close.
He deferred. Kevin Durant knew.
You have to let the best player take the most shots.
Kevin Durant knew this was Steph Curry's team, but Steph Curry knew Kevin Durant had to be the one that takes the most shots.
Right.
But Kevin Durant did not go into that room saying, I need the most shots. He doesn't have that dog in him. Now, I will never take away from what Kevin Durant can do on the basketball court because he is fantastic and amazing. You know, he doesn't even get enough credit for what he does on the defensive side of the ball with just his length and his size alone. I mean, sure, he might not be the greatest defensive player, but just he's 7 foot and can guard your 6'9" wing player.
Does LeBron want him guarding him?
Well, LeBron will just take him to the rack and they'll call a foul anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But LeBron doesn't want to guard Kevin Durant. You know why? Because LeBron is probably going to try and force him whichever way, and it doesn't matter. KD just going to rise up on him. KD is what Anthony Davis wants to be as an offensive scorer. He wants to be able to pick up the ball whenever he wants, wherever on the floor, put the shot up, and it goes in. But Anthony Davis needs to realize he's better at a closer range than Kevin Durant. Well, Kevin Durant's still better, but what I mean by that is like he just can't score nearly at the range that Kevin Durant can.
Kevin Durant's shot is perfect, and he's 7 foot tall. That's the point. Anthony Davis can shoot.
Yes,
but he's got a long shot, and what I mean by Durant has got. Man,
could you imagine a team that had LeBron James and Kevin Durant on it from the get-go?
Well, they wouldn't have lost, but
I think that would have been probably the greatest team of all time because LeBron James, he knows he doesn't have to shoot more than Kevin Durant. He would have facilitated.
He would have let Durant score, and like Westbrook and Harden wouldn't. And that's the difference between those teams. You know, with Anthony Davis is going to be a free agent.
He's going to resign, but yes.
Maybe.
I think he resigns.
I think he does too, but
the problem is everybody else on that Lakers squad is going to be a free agent too.
That's true too.
Because a lot of the key role players that LeBron James brought in, 1-year guys. How about this? I saw this tweet last night and it was crazy. Who would have thought that Dwight Howard would win an NBA championship in Orlando?
Yeah.
Yeah. He did it in Orlando, just not for the Orlando Magic. Now, sticking with that,
with the Lakers,
who the first round he basically outran out of town.
Terry needs to apologize to Dwight Howard.
Well, I was going to ask you this: does this solidify him as a Hall of Famer?
He was already a Hall of Famer.
I know he was already a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's definitely not.
But he's solidified.
You can't.
There's no question now. I mean, even if he didn't have a big role in this series, I mean, he played a big role in the Denver series. Whenever he was bodying up Jokic, him and JaVale, when they bodied up against Jokic, he played a big role there. Dwight had his moments this year. He's not the same Dwight that single-handedly took Orlando to the finals. I had somebody tell me that today. Someone in our Zoom call today for school brought up, he said, Hunter, I know you cover sports. I just have a question for you. Does this make LeBron James a GOAT? I said no, because it's not 6 for 6. No fine. There's no 6 for 6. And then somebody chimed in. I don't know who it is, but he chimed in and he said, first of all, Michael was playing against scrubs. Nobody in that era was as skilled as they were today. And that about sent me ballistic. And then he said, Michael couldn't get past the first round until he got Scotty while he was younger. LeBron carried the Cavaliers there one time. I said, first of all, I don't remember LeBron James going through Larry Bird and those Boston Celtics or Isaiah Thomas and those Pistons. And I said, and I should have said this, but I didn't think about it. Even Dwight Howard carried a team in the East to the finals.
Right, but also with the Cavs thing, Hunter, he had 2 All-Stars on his team.
Right.
He had
but nobody gives them credit
or gives them credit or anything. Mo Williams is Adrinas Ilgauskas, made All-Star teams in Cleveland, and they were on the Cleveland Cavaliers, which meant that team alone had more All-Stars than Michael Jordan ever played with. That's before we even get to Miami, before we get to L.A., before we get back to Cleveland. That team alone, only one player that ever played with Michael Jordan made the All-Star team, and that was Scottie Pippen. And LeBron has had, let's talk, we got Z, we've got Mo,
Dwayne, Bosh,
Wade, Bosh,
Kyrie.
Did Ray Allen make it while he was a teammate?
Didn't Kevin Love make
definitely
it?
made it. Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Ray Allen may or may not have. I'm not 100% sure.
But it doesn't matter even if you put him on there.
Even if he didn't, that's 7. If he did, it's 8. He's played with 8 All-Stars that made on his team.
And he said...
And we played Scotty one.
And I told him...
Again, Hunter, real quick. In Game 6 of the 98 finals, Scottie Pippen had 8 points.
Right. Michael had 40.
Let's get off that bandwagon.
Listen, I tried to tell him. And I will sit here and I'll say this in front of everybody. I will not take away the championships that LeBron James has won. The one with Cleveland was a bona fide. That was the team on his back when they came back 3-1 against the Warriors.
But what happened in that
series? Draymond did get kicked out.
I mean,
he kicked a dude in the nuts, but they did lose Draymond.
And did he beat him with Kevin Durant on the floor?
No.
Okay.
That is a super team.
Every one of his championships has an asterisk. Every one.
I don't know if every one of them has an asterisk.
Every one of them. He's 4 for 4 asterisks. First one, you played the Baby Thunder. Yeah. Second one, you did what? Who did you beat?
He beat San Antonio.
The miracle San Antonio shot on the tap-out rebound with Ray Allen in the corner.
Okay.
There's your asterisk. Then the third one, I just gave you the asterisk. Then the fourth one, we're playing in a ballroom against 5 seeds and 8 seeds.
I won't give the asterisk. I will still say, you know what? Great. LeBron James did win those championships. But outside of Golden State, which one of them had a bona fide top 10 player, top 15 player in the league still? San Antonio, Kawhi was a baby. He was still a baby. Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker were still getting up there in age. Tim Duncan was not prime Tim Duncan.
Do you know what the salary cap is in the NBA?
I have no idea what the salary cap is. And the only reason I'm getting to that is, it made me really mad. I didn't want to show it.
Hunter,
But it made me mad whenever he said, Michael Jordan wasn't playing near any of the guys' skill level today. He said Michael Jordan only shot like three threes a game. I said, yeah, and he still averaged 30 points in his career. And I had to tell him he did not write a paper on this. I had to tell him, I said, you got to remember the 3-point line wasn't even introduced to Michael Jordan until he was still in college. Like, come on now. You gotta think about.
I told him hit in '82. There wasn't.
I had to tell him, like, look, you got to remember, all these guys that are playing today, you can call them more skilled because they can shoot the 3-point at a higher percentage, but they've been shooting 3-pointers like that since they were 5. Their 3-point lines on Optimus courts.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has had the 3-point line. And then I said, look, don't say Michael Jordan didn't play against skilled players because and I had to tell him, I said, don't forget Karl Malone still has the most points in NBA history.
Why is it?
John Stockton is the NBA lead assist man.
Right.
He played both of them twice. He played Sean Kemp and Gary Payton.
Stockton's also the all-time leader in steals.
I'm just like, I don't like,
Think about that.
What do you mean by
He's the
skills? Just
all-time
because they
leader
have
in
better handles
steals.
today?
No, this is what they mean.
And
Hunter.
but also this, and I had to tell him this too. I said, look, and everybody wants to say one-on-one.
You also know
LeBron,
height weight's wrong.
It is.
We talked about that.
And, and I had to tell him this. And I said, look, and you can say LeBron should be better because he's 6'9" and like 260. If anything, that should credit for what Michael did because he was 6'6" and was dominating.
Right. 100% right. And that's...
I will give LeBron his props. He said he wants his damn respect. You got your respect. I can admit it. But what you've done, cool. What Michael did, wow.
It's the whole... I think it's the whole
10-time scoring champ, 5-time defensive player of the year.
It's the whole video game. Taller,
bigger, faster, stronger,
right,
and I wrote a paper distinguishing that.
LeBron is basically Karl Malone with Stockton's ball skills. Like if Stockton and Karl Malone had a baby, that's the best way. LeBron can dunk. Karl Malone can dunk. When they're wide open in space, it looks like they get really high and dunk really hard. But how often do you see LeBron and Karl Malone actually dunk in traffic? Doesn't happen. Not much at all. LeBron's thing is he wants to go off glass, left side, off glass. He wants to bump you out of the way and go off glass. So
wants to get that in one.
To me, they're just different people, different players. I don't understand why people get upset being like the thing with Albert Pujols and Trout. If I say you're not as good as Albert Pujols, it's not an insult. Because I didn't finish the rest of the sentence, right? Like, Hunter, you're not as good as Barry Bonds.
Damn.
Are your feelings hurt?
He's an animal.
So, listen, Jordan is Jordan. Different types of things. If he gets 6, then we'll have the discussion. I think it's insulting to even have it. 6 championships in 17 years. I mean, he's got 4 championships in 17 years. Jordan had 6 in 13. We went over the fact that the only time he didn't get an All-Star until his 3rd year or 4th year, until Scotty made the All-Star team. And then Scotty had a headache in Game 7 or whatever, and didn't play. And so he
had a bad back against the Jazz, and that about screwed him.
Now,
LeBron
to me
has also been to multiple Game 7s. Michael never made it to a Game 7.
A lot of this also is the whole, like, let's say the Shaq argument. Like when people start naming players all the time, and they'll tell you top 10 today, Shaq gets thrown in there.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you this: in 2005, after he'd won his 3 championships or whenever it was, people still weren't putting Shaq in the top 10. But now, 10, 15 years later, that everybody says, "Oh, he's the most." People have been saying he's the most dominant. Whatever that means. What does that mean? How are you dominant getting out rebounded by Charles Barkley? How are you dominant getting out rebounded by Larry Bird at small forward? So yes, if you want to say dominant, him and LeBron play the same way. They run through the defender, let the refs make or not make the call, and then let the pieces fall as they may. You can call that skill. You can call that just plain out size. I'm calling it just straight up size. Now, I'll take every single day of the week Akeem Olajuwon over Shaq, and it's not even a question. Like, you can sit there and pick Shaq. I will laugh, say, I got Akeem. And not 1 second am I afraid of that. And he's got him by 50, 60 pounds. And I don't care, because Akeem's going to wear him out and kill him. He did it already. So that's the thing when people say the Michael and the LeBrons it's a different ways of playing basketball. And to say, yeah, Shaq's just going to run over you and we're going to allow it, that's a that skill is not as much as what
This is
David
brute
Robinson did
force.
or what Hakeem Olajuwon did, and it's just weird. It's just different.
I don't know. Just when the statement came out that Michael like they weren't as skilled in Michael's era as they were now. Like, does he not think that Kareem in his era is just as skilled at what he could do as some of the players today? Is it just come down to watching Kyrie Irving and what he can do with the ball?
Right. So we've got a thing also that's a great point, Hunter.
Like, is it just a ball skill?
Right. It's a great point to where I try to tell people there's millions and millions and millions of people on this planet between 6'4" and 5'10" who are really good at basketball. Mm-hmm. The best basketball players in the NBA are the point guards. Look, they're all scoring. They all have those skills.
Had to make the note as well. I said, you got to remember, too, Michael played in a time where there were 7-footers in the paint.
All the time. Two of them.
And their job...
And, to foul him.
And my teacher, my professor came out and said, he had input, too. He said, look, I watched Michael Jordan play 80 games one season. He said, Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. He said, what he went up against with the Knicks and the Pistons basically coming at him with guns and knives every time they played was unmatched. I mean, I threw out there, I said, yeah, that people don't act like the Jordan rules weren't a thing.
I was laughing at some of the video because Friday night I didn't get to see all the highlights and stuff. So about the LeBron passing and how I made fun of him Saturday about in Space Jam 2, he's going to pass the Porky Pig. In the corner.
Actually was surprised that Danny Green did not hit that.
I am too, which is fine. But again, let's say Danny Green's the best. Let's say he's the best 3-point shooter in the NBA at 40%. It's still a 60% chance he's going to miss it. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, why did you miss that? I'm like, okay.
The chances of missing is greater than the chances of making.
That's like I tried to explain to my son, I said, because he got out the other day. I was like, son, the greatest baseball player ever got out 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to realize this. Like, you can't succeed every shot, everything. But the thing when he was down one, there was a few plays before it. It was at 20 seconds. They showed LeBron, this guy on Twitter. I laughed my ass off because he backed it down to the block and kept looking for someone to throw it to. And the double team never came. And he still threw it to, I think it was Pope, who took a three with 20 seconds left. And he barely got rim. It fell in Anthony Davis's hands, and he laid it in.
Right.
And so the guy was like, it's got to be a fade. It's got to be a fade. Take the fade.
You got to show like you take the shot.
Right.
LeBron, take the shot.
Again, and I think I know exactly why I saw it because Andre had retweeted it. And he said MJ would never. And again,
MJ and Kobe would never.
There's just different styles of it. It's just, look, again, if you want to say LeBron is the third best wing ever and end the argument that way, I'll say, okay, I'll let you have that. But when you say someone's the greatest ever, that means the best we've ever seen, right? The greatest of all time. That's the one word we're not getting to. The greatest does not pass it to Porky Pig. Look, and everybody says, well, Jordan passed it to Paxson. No, he didn't. He passed it to Horace Grant under the basket, who then kicked it out to John Paxson. He did pass it to Steve Kerr. Where was Jordan double-teamed on that play, Hunter?
Was it baseline?
No, he was outside the three-point line near half court. Like, Jordan was not inside the paint.
I know they talked about that in the Last Dance because the only thing I remember is Jordan looking at him saying, "You better hit it."
Right. They drew up the play, and if a double team comes, it was going to be designed out of the triangle that somebody's going to be open on a double team. So the play that they were drawing up, Steve is going to be open.
And he looked at Steve and basically said, "You better hit this."
That one time, so in 13 years, the one time Michael passed it, he was double teamed outside the 3-point line, and they talked about it in the huddle. Like it wasn't, again, LeBron drove into this is what drives people crazy about it. He took the time and effort to drive into the paint. And then he kicked it out for three to a lesser player. But again, if you want the three, why are you driving to the paint?
Why don't you just work it around the perimeter?
You're down one, Hunter.
All you need's a two.
Or a free throw. I've never been on a basketball court, Hunter, where we're down one and we got the last shot and
they're like 3-pointer.
The three is the last resort if they're open. Because we'd rather take it to the rack, get a foul called, go to the line, or get your shot up. And that's the frustrating thing about it is that when we get to that point, And then of course the easy math of is, why are we talking about someone winning 4 championships? Kobe's still got how many?
5.
Tim Duncan still got 5. They both won championships while LeBron was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It's just weird how we get there. It's a thing of kids today. It's the same thing with Trout. Is that everybody wants today.
I know.
In 20 years, Zion Williamson's going to be the greatest basketball player we've ever seen.
Unless he never wins a ring.
Oh, that don't matter. They've already sailed that ship, Hunter.
Well, they have with Mike Trout.
All they're doing is they will come up with some type of basketball stat to make Zion. They'll come up with a basketball war to make Zion the greatest.
I don't know. I didn't want that to be like a LeBron shame, because it's not. It's not a LeBron shame. I still think LeBron is great. I think, and Shannon Sharp came on today as one was like, ain't nobody ever won a championship leading their team in points, rebounds, assists, and he named off 2 other guys or something like that. And I was like, okay,
nobody else is trying.
Cool.
Nobody else is trying.
Like, I'm sorry that these teams LeBron plays on, they ask him to do everything.
I would, what I would like to do, because of my theory about how he was padding the stats on those, I'm going to go back and watch. I would like to have someone go back and count. I know I won't do it because I'm too lazy for that. And watch all of his rebounds and see how many of them he actually boxed someone out on. As opposed to someone shoots a 3, everyone else just gets out of the lane and lets LeBron get the rebound.
I don't.
Chris said none of his titles have asterisks. I say all 4 of them do.
I don't know.
And
look.
Chris, you're crazy. Shaq is not better than Akeem. Come on, you know that. He smoked him. He swept him. Sweep.
Look, LeBron's great. I'll give him that. I still think Michael's above him. There's nothing wrong if you want to go 1A, 1B.
Where's Kobe then? Like that's what I said.
Yeah,
when
I know.
does LeBron skip Kobe? When did that happen? That's what I just.
I mean, Kobe is another one of those that actually had a 3-peat.
All right. Okay, real quick before we get out of here. All right, not to get out of here. We still got football stuff to do. Okay, so for example, let's say the 2 greatest shooting guards ever.
Michael and Kobe.
Michael, Kobe. Okay. Who's the 2 best small forwards ever?
You would argue LeBron and Bird.
Where does Kevin Durant rank?
I get so lost where to put Kevin, whether he's the power forward or a small forward. That's why I don't know where to put him.
Well, I'm just saying, like, how many times he beat LeBron? Aren't they 1-1 against each other in the finals? Yeah.
Minute.
When both of them were at full force, I guess Durant beat him. Again, and I know Hunter don't want to hear it or anyone else, but Ginobili has got 5 titles, beat LeBron in the Olympics, and LeBron had Tim Duncan on his team. Ginobili and Fabricio Oberto beat LeBron James and the American basketball team. Just head to head. Durant won his MVP in the finals. Who was he going up against? LeBron. So let's say Durant wins.
So did Iggy.
Let's say Durant wins.
So did Iggy.
Let's say Durant wins 4. Let's say he ends his career. They both end.
What does he have right now? 2?
Let's say they both end with 4.
Okay. I don't know.
Are you telling me that LeBron's ranked higher because he has more assists? Because Kevin Durant's going to end up with more points probably by the end.
Probably.
Because LeBron's points.
I just still have to see how he comes back off of his Achilles injury.
And we got to see that.
We got to see that. But more than if you had to ask me, then yes, I would believe he would have more points than LeBron. The problem that comes into that is what people don't take into consideration for LeBron. It's longevity. LeBron is playing in his 17th season. Is Kevin Durant going to make it to 17 seasons? Or is he going to say, I've had enough? That's the same thing we can say with Michael. Michael stopped in between 2 3-peats and said, I'm going to take a break and play baseball. And then guess what else? He retired after the second 3-peat. And we lost a few more years of that.
How many 3-peats LeBron got?
None. He had an opportunity with the Heat, but The Spurs
They
said
went
not
back
this
to back,
time.
once?
Yes, that was with the Heat.
I'm going to give you some fuzzy math, right? Michael went back to back 4 times. Right?
What?
Michael went back to back 4 times.
Technically, yes. If you count, yes, he won 2, 1 gap, 1, and then another 2.
He won 3, 2, 3. So if you take those 3, the first and second one is 1 and 2. Then 2 and 3 is back
Yes.
to back. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Yeah, that's why I put the gap in there. I was like, first 2, the third gap, but then there's that 4th, and then the 5th and 6th.
Look, if final thought, LeBron James has one thing that Michael Jordan will never ever have, and I agree. This is one thing Jordan will never have that the LeBron fans have. That's a bronze medal, boys. He's got a bronze medal. Bronze.
Listen.
You brought shame. LeBron's medal brought shame to this nation.
I say this all the time. Michael Jordan has
LeBron's
something
medal.
that LeBron can never have, and
That's
is
college.
a college national championship.
We actually took a class in college. After losing Kemba Walker, the Hornets managed to hang around the fringes of the East playoff race thanks to second-year point guard Devontae Graham's development into a quality starter. The NBA's 4th worst point differential,
Damn, this
however,
was a hell of a switch.
shows how much room there is for improvement. That started with lottery luck as Charlotte landed the 3. Well, don't matter if they don't get it right.
Right.
They can pick me at the 3, guys.
Damn. Can I go ahead and just slip my name into eligibility for the NBA draft and see?
Honestly,
see
if
if I get picked.
if we're gonna mess it up, pick me. Let me get a cool 10 mil. I mean, I'll
And then what I'll do is I'll retire after my first year and say I'm taking my talents to the office.
to contend for a playoff spot. The Hornets need more development from Miles Bridges and Malik Monk, and use effective use of the projected cap space.
So what ESPN is saying is they would much rather have Miles Bridges over PJ Washington. And I literally said when they drafted PJ Washington, you just drafted a better shooting Miles Bridges. They're the same thing. And Malik Monk can't stay off the cocaine. So I don't know exactly what you
Is
guys...
that what he was on?
I don't know. Remember he got suspended? Like
they didn't say what it was
indefinitely?
for?
No, it was something in his system. And I was like, damn, bro, he is high. Because what it was is they did a drug test on him after he had posted like 2 20 to 30 point or 3. Like it was like a string of 20, 30 point games. I'm like, damn, he is hyped up on cocaine right now.
Is that
I don't know if it's true or not. He might just have a weed problem.
trying to find
But
Anthony Davis?
it was a substance. They didn't say. But I'm with you 100%, you know, what you said about the Hornets. If they want to turn it around, we are Hornets affiliates, by the way, for those of you that are wondering why we did such a hard switch. Hornets affiliates, if they want to have success, they have to get this 3rd pick right. This might be their most pivotal pick since they screwed up the MKG pick.
Mm-hmm.
You have something this high. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the talent pool was just loaded. It's because it's not. You know, there are guys overseas that you think are a whole lot more developed, but there are also guys here that are really young, but they have that opportunity to pop. And then you have the guy in the middle, LaMelo. Does somebody even take a jab at him because they don't want to deal with his dad? I mean, what's going to happen to him? But you also got to look at what your core makeup is right now of the Hornets. It's the point guard, Devontae Graham. That's about it. You got a wing in, well, you're saying, Miles Bridges. But he's not his game does not translate right now to what they want wings to be in the NBA, which is spot-up shooters. You can stand there, catch the ball, and consistently knock down at about 35% from the three-point line. He's just not doing that. Now, he's an athletic freak and can get to the lane. If you pass it to him out on the perimeter, he can shot fake, but for somebody to bite, he has to hit it consistently, or else he'll just drive the lane. He did, what was it? He won this year's All-Star... What was it? Rookie, sophomore, player of the game? I think
one of those. Yeah,
it was either this year or last year. I mean, he looked good, but nobody plays defense in that game, so who cares?
Nobody's gonna try to block his dunks in that game.
No.
Right?
So he is athletic as all get out. He is, and he's a nice kid. I talked to him in his first year in the league. He was really nice, and he gave a lot of credit to the coaching staff, really trying to help develop him. But to me, that's why I would just draft a known commodity in Obi Toppin. And a lot of guys that I've talked to, they're like, no, you have to take a chance because Because, what is there to lose? I'm saying, well, what do you mean, what is there to lose? What do you mean, what is there to lose? You got the 3rd overall pick. Do you really want to have a MKG or a Sam Bowie on your hands, damn it? I don't think you do. You have to get somebody in there that can score and a wing. And that's why, to me, the safest pick is Obi Toppin. Now, everybody's like, why would you want to be safe? Well, cool. You go out there and get the guy that could possibly be this. That could possibly be that. And then what happens when he falls short because your coaching staff can't get him there? I don't know. Everybody says you got to take the risk. Take the risk. Try and get the guy with the high upside. Well, what if he never meets that upside?
Yeah. I don't.
Your fan base is starving for wins.
I'm not sure about. I think you're right about at 3.
I mean, even if it's not Obi, I just know what I saw from him in college, and he improved every year.
They picked MKG at 2, hoping they could teach him how to shoot a basketball. To me, Hunter, I always thought once you make it to the
at least college
NBA
level,
that
you can
know how to shoot a basketball, like
right.
You have some type of form, and that was just god awful what they did. And MKG should have been a 2nd-round pick, if anything, and maybe late 1st, but not 2nd overall. He can't shoot. I mean, like, how can you have someone on your team, Hunter, the 2nd overall pick, and I would bet there's 1,000 people in that stadium that can outshoot him. The owner definitely can. The owner beat him 1-on-1.
Yeah.
The 50-year-old owner beat MKG 1-on-1. And they're wondering why he didn't work out. So again, you can talk about well, if LeBron's beating number 2 overall picks when he's owning the team at 55 or not. But the point of that was that was just terrible. Let me look at some of these salaries. We're talking about Anthony Davis. Hornets actually have the room to sign him. One of only like 3 or 4 teams.
The Hornets have room to sign a lot of players. The problem is they just can't coax anybody in.
Hunter,
you want to go play
Wait a minute, you ready? Miami.
What about him?
They're $26 million under the salary cap, and he this year made 27. Think about the Heat adding the Brow.
Oh, I think they'd be nasty.
Will they be the title favorites?
Yeah.
The Heat have the 4th lowest payroll in the league going into next year, guys. The lowest is the Hawks at 59, Detroit 71.
Neither one of them is making a run.
Charlotte at 81.
They're not making a run.
Miami at 82.
They make a
Pelicans
run.
at 83. Raptors at 86. Phoenix and Minnesota and Sacramento are the teams under 100 million. With, the way the NBA works out, Hunter, I say those are the only teams that could sign him. That's with their own cap money. The way the NBA works is that they would do a sign and trade or something if he wanted to go somewhere else. And that's just what if he has to go back to New Orleans?
To go play. Go play with Zion.
Yeah.
Said, I got mine. I mean, hey.
Think about it. He got his championship.
He did. He got his championship.
And then now he can go back to New Orleans. Play with the Lonzo and the boys.
He don't want to do anything with Lonzo Ball and them boys.
So Lakers are $10 million over the cap, so they can't do anything unless they trade and let people, or they have to trade people even if they are going to let all this free agents go.
If you are the Hornets and you do have probably the 2nd lowest salary hit, or what was it, 3rd lowest?
Yeah.
If I was you, I would actually try and be aggressive in free agency. I would. Because what good does it do for you to go into a place? What good does it do? Let's say it was a game. Free agency was a game. What good does it do for you to go into free agency and say, oh, well, I have no shot? That doesn't do any good. If you see a guy and you think he can fit your system, why would you not go out there and at least talk to him and say, hey, look, we got a really good opportunity for you here. We don't necessarily have a true one. You're a fringe one guy. Like DeMar. Would you not think DeMar DeRozan would fit well in Charlotte? I think he would fit well. He's a scoring wing. Why not? I mean, he'd be better than Terry Rozier at the 2 guard. Absolutely. So why not? You have to be active. And I just feel like they're not active. They were active a few years ago when they were able to bring Dwight to Charlotte. And what they do, they made the playoffs. But it just didn't work out after that.
Chris says LeBron passed Kobe a while back, and he's better than Durant. Both of those are false, Chris. False. False.
LeBron might be the better overall player, but he's not a better scorer than
They
either
play
one of
one-on-one.
you.
Who you
make a
picking?
move,
Who?
the
Kobe
other
or LeBron?
dugout's going to make a move. That's
played
baseball
one-on-one.
has
Who you
been
pick?
forever. But is
That's
it,
tough.
in
To
your
me,
estimation,
seriously, that's tough.
I don't even think it's
seeing
close.
the
I think it's
strikeouts,
tough. It's
are
just
you
because of
gonna-
size.
What's LeBron gonna do? Dip his shoulder and hope to kick it out to somebody? In one-on-one, Hunter, you have to shoot yourself.
I know you have to shoot
You do
yourself.
understand this. In one-on-one, LeBron can't pick up his dribble and then turn around and look for Porky Pig in the corner.
I know that. I'm just saying, if he wanted to take Kobe to the basket, he probably could.
Well, that's nice.
He strikes out on high fastballs. So
I'm just saying.
No. If a referee's calling actual charges,
No.
I'm going to go to the
You're
highlight
saying
just a
on the
second. I
Kobe
one-on-one
will
at
stay in
the.
front of him.
lived it.
LeBron
The
don't
book
get by
tells you
people.
this.
He
The
just
math
runs through
tells you
people.
this.
I know.
The
But
ref's allowed
if
it.
we're talking at the park, I mean, then LeBron just taking to the basket. But Kobe, we'll keep it close because he just pull up anywhere.
Right.
LeBron can't guard Kobe.
That's got to take precedence to a certain
Can
extent.
Kobe stay in
And
front of LeBron?
again, you're
What
talking
move
about
does
one of
LeBron
the
have
better
that people
relievers
can't
in
stay in
his
front of?
bullpen
That
by
spin
There
move.
isn't one.
that he
That
removes
spin
from the
move
ballgame,
when he
even
drives
after
the lane
just
and
10 pitches
spins to his
thrown.
left.
And that's 4 steps. So he gets 4 steps. That's what I'm saying. All of his great moves or great plays are aided by the referees or something else other than his moves.
Have you seen what he does before he shoots threes? How he
When he
like
takes
stares
steps-
in that one spot.
when he
and then
takes 7 slide steps and then jumps? They don't call that travel either. I mean, I'm just saying. They ain't gonna,
I don't know. I just what it like. The
It's
Hornets,
so
they
funny.
just if you're gonna stick with Hornets talk, they got to do something to make themselves like at least become intriguing for
he says he
free
hears something in
agents.
the background. I don't hear anything. Do you hear anything?
I don't
wonder
hear
if-
anything.
I wonder if one of my pages here is playing some stupid video or something, but I don't see anything hitting on my screen.
No, I
Maybe
don't
not.
hear
Maybe
it.
not. It just may be the radio coming through. But I've had fun today, though. It's fun.
It's fun.
This was the way too early power rankings for next year. The Hornets were ranked 27th, if you were wondering. Hunter.
Oof, out of 30.
Your Wizards
wow.
are 21.
I'm not surprised. I will say this though, at least we have one cornerstone player. I mean Rui. That's about it. I think Bradley walks. Seriously. I think somebody offers him a lot of money and he walks. But then we're out of Bradley Beal. And John Wall, I mean if he can come back healthy,
Yeah.
but he hasn't played in almost 2 seasons. So what am I getting? Fat John Wall? I don't want that.
All right, Wednesdays we do our NFL. We go over our games on Wednesday, all the games, and then we do our power rankings as well. But on Mondays we do talk big news in the NFL
And we talk college football.
and a little college. I tell you what, is there anything you want to mention? I didn't watch any college. If you want to,
The University of North Carolina is 5th in the nation now.
I saw that.
And I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it. Georgia is 3rd. I'm fine with it. But that is a matchup I'm so excited for. Saturday is Georgia, Alabama, 2 versus 3. You don't get this every year because
Why is no one in college football playing defense?
dude, nobody is.
That's what I'm saying.
But think about it. Nobody is at the NFL. Nobody is at the NFL
Nobody
level
is.
either. And that's just what's so crazy about it. Every single game in college football seems to be a shootout. We used to think it was nothing but the Big 12 that did nothing but shootouts. The defense was nowhere, non-existent. Now everybody's in a shootout, it seems like. The SEC isn't even playing that great of defense. The best defense in the SEC right now, eye test wise, tooting my own horn, is the University of Georgia. Those Bulldogs are fast. They fly around the field, front 7, back 4, however many there are, whoever you want to pick on that defense for the University of Georgia. They fly. Not only that, they're ball hawks. Interception, fumble recoveries, forcing fumbles, getting to the quarterback and getting sacks. What they did to Auburn and then Tennessee back-to-back weeks cannot be downplayed. To me, that should elevate them above Alabama and Clemson. I know you can't fault a team for who they play and not losing, so far being undefeated in Clemson and Alabama. But Georgia has played the better competition, and they have won. They beat Auburn, and then they beat Tennessee this week. They've played the better competition. Clemson has not played great competition, but they're 4-0, so keep them there. Alabama, they've played a difficult shootout match against Ole Miss, and they pulled that one out of their ass. So I guess you can keep them there too. But Georgia has played the harder schedule, and they have the harder schedule between Clemson and Alabama. If Georgia beats Alabama this weekend, they deserve an automatic bid just for going through this gauntlet that they're going through into the college football playoffs. Mark it down. Mark it down. Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama. Not to mention, we also have to play a ranked Florida team. I know they just lost this weekend, but that was another shootout. But this is, he brought up, nobody's playing defense, and I don't understand really why. You would think the offenses would have a harder time coming together than the defenses. And that just doesn't seem to be the case. I will say this, though. The SEC is wide open for everybody else to come in like third or fourth. I think 1 and 2 is solidified. I think it's going to be Georgia or Alabama, because even if Alabama or Georgia loses this weekend, either or, I see them continuing to beat the other teams in their division and who else they have to play. So to me, everybody else, though, it's up for grabs who wants to come in third or fourth in the SEC. Seriously, that's just how I feel. I'm watching Florida, and then they look dangerous for their first 2 games. And then the game they played Saturday against Texas A&M, their defense was just abysmal. Now, their quarterback, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if it's taboo or if people just don't do it. It's frowned upon to put a quarterback in the Heisman hunt, even though they have a loss on their record. But so far, Trask would be the number 1 pick for me to vote for Heisman. I know what Trevor Lawrence can do, and Justin Fields isn't even playing right now, so he's out of the loop. Kyle Trask, 6'5", 240 senior for the University of Florida. He is playing out of his mind. 71% completion percentage. He's almost already got 1,000 yards through 3 games. They're 2-1. I know that. He's got 14 touchdown passes to 1 interception. Right now, Kyle Trask is my favorite out of all the players in college football right now to lead me on the Heisman race. That's me. I've watched him play his first 3 games, and even though they lost in this game against Texas A&M, he didn't have a turnover, but he did have 4 touchdowns. The kid is electric. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he might be playing himself into a high pick at the quarterback position at the next level come the NFL draft. I don't know if he was on anybody's big board or prospect list going into the NFL next year, but what I've seen so far, he's up there for me. I don't see any problem with how he throws the ball. He's not been a turnover machine against SEC quality opponents. I know they lost to a ranked Texas A&M team Saturday, but still, for you to go through 3 games, 14 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and almost 1,000 yards passing, I'm going to give you the nod. I think he deserves to be on big boards come NFL draft. Doesn't have to be over Trevor Lawrence. Doesn't have to be over Justin Fields. Doesn't have to be over the quarterback from North Dakota State. Can't quite remember his name. But Kyle Trask, his name should be in discussion going forward. Now, Kevin makes a very good point. I'm just looking at some of these top 25 matchups. 41-38, 56-45, 45-41, 22 Texas, that was their rank. 45-53. Georgia scores 44. They only allow 21. BYU scores 27. Iowa State scores 31. Auburn scores 30. Clemson scores 42. And Alabama scores 63. And Notre Dame scores 42. No defense was played in any of those. In some of those games, in the top 25 matchups that I can just both ranked opponents were playing, A&M scored 41. Florida still scored 38. UNC scored 56. Virginia Tech still scored 45. LSU in a loss scored 41. Missouri scored 45. Red River rivalry, 4 overtimes. Texas 45, but Oklahoma 53.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Somebody Play a little defense this weekend. See Kentucky?
I did not see Kentucky.
Look that score up.
I did not see
It's the
Kentucky.
weirdest football game I've ever seen. Once you find it.
Another. We will see. What is this?
Just keep looking for it. You'll find it.
I know I'll find it. I'm trying to think if this was last week's scores. What I'm looking at. Is this going to have me? No, not top 25. Let's do the SEC. So Kentucky, you are telling me, played defense.
Yes.
In a week where nobody played defense.
Yes.
They did. Wow. They won 24-2
Against who?
against Mike Leach and Mississippi State.
The air raid offense
Got
score
shut down.
after beating who? LSU.
I know.
They put 40-something on LSU.
Oh, not to mention South Carolina scored 41. Vanderbilt only scored 7, so they played defense in South Carolina. They sure did. Other than that, everybody else in the SEC played no defense. 45-41, 30-28, 41-38, 44-21. That's kind of defense, but Georgia never should have let the 21 points up. And then 63-48, Alabama Ole Miss. At one time, that game was tied up at 48 apiece.
I know one thing. Carolina should have done this years ago.
What? Moved for Mac Brown to be the head coach?
No. You know he had a losing record at every season his first 5 years.
The highest rank he had North Carolina at was like 4th, and then he left the year after.
He would have had a losing season last year if he didn't play Temple in the bowl game.
No.
Temple.
Okay, whatever. Fine. Say what you want.
Hey, this gets you top 5 ranked. Like Syracuse, Boston College, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech was ranked.
Again.
We beat them.
Again.
Kevin, if I put a team in front of you, what do I expect you to do? Win.
Okay.
So if you win,
how's that any better than what App did last year?
I have to reward you.
How are we not top 5 last year? If they are for that, we should have been top 10.
Ask Marshall why you aren't even close this year.
That's this year. I'm just
last
saying.
Year.
Last year we should have been top 10.
Okay, well here's
all you got to do
you.
is beat Syracuse.
Here,
Boston College.
Here's one for you.
Syracuse gave up 40 to Duke.
Does NC State, this is for you and for Terry, does NC State get ranked this week? They're 3-1.
I don't know.
They're 3-1.
Terry said they better not be.
They won, though.
Terry said they better not be ranked.
They
He's a
won.
State fan.
Actually, I don't even know why I'm asking because the rankings are out. I
know,
just
I'm
look
looking
at
at
it.
'em.
I can just look at it. Does North Carolina, I will say this, does North Carolina deserve to be ranked 5th in the nation? No. Am I going to complain? No. Do I think they're still a top 10 team in the nation? Absolutely.
I think that team in 97 or 6, whichever year it was, had to win like 8 games. Before
NC State is not ranked, but they got 86 votes.
They had to win like 8 games before they got ranked in the top 10, maybe 15.
All we've had to do is win 3.
And like, look,
listen,
Hunter, if y'all beat a good team, if you beat Georgia or
we play Florida State
or
this
LSU,
week,
or I know the schedule, y'all might go undefeated.
I know
because you don't play anybody.
Well, listen. After what I saw,
Miami's the only team you got left, right?
We have Notre Dame too. The
Okay.
only team I see.
You'll lose that one.
Listen, Miami. After what I saw Clemson do to them, we can beat Miami. Okay.
You think Notre Dame should be 4th right now?
Yeah.
At the end of the year, was they played Clemson in the playoffs?
Now they
how many
do.
would they
No,
lose by?
Notre Dame plays Clemson during the regular
Do they got
season.
them in the regular season?
So that's where things will get tricky. But
I did see people say Miami and Clemson will probably play each other in the championship game.
Maybe. Yeah, they might see each other again. This is the but they're only doing. I'm pretty sure this is the year the ACC is doing top 2 teams, not each division, because they've kind of intertwined who all plays this
Are
year.
you sure? 'Cause
I think
the way they were talking about it in the game might be different, but again,
I don't know.
You could be right. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But I will say this: should a 3-0 North Carolina team not be ranked higher than a 0-0 Ohio State team? Like they haven't played, and yet they're in the top 10 at 6th.
Ohio State's practice squad is better than every team that Carolina has beat.
I don't know about that. I mean, think about it. But no.
How many starters were missing for Virginia Tech on Saturday? Do you know the answer to that one?
Mm-mm.
I know you didn't. You just guess.
What was it? 15?
You nailed it. They were missing 15 players.
Okay.
So you again.
But
even if this wasn't North Carolina, if this was NC State, any other name that had beaten Syracuse, Boston College by 4, and a 15-person Virginia Tech team who barely beat Duke. No, the only wins Virginia Tech has is Duke and NC State.
Yeah, that's it. And they lost to us.
Like,
Listen,
come on. It's just silly.
I
think it's funny more
will
than
preach
anything.
this every week. The top 25 should not include Big Ten or Pac-12 teams because they are not playing. You are taking a spot away from
Do they
an
start this
NC
weekend
State.
yet?
I
When do
don't
they
know.
start?
I don't know when they start because I'm looking at this right now. The 6th spot is taken up by a Big Ten. 9 spots taken up by a Big Ten. 12 by the Pac-12. 16 by the Big Ten. 19 by the Big Ten. 24 and 25, literally the fringe to get in, are taken up by Big Ten and a Pac-12 team. That could have at least been Marshall and NC State. If they're not playing, don't rank them.
That's what Hunter thinks.
If they're not playing,
I think the opposite.
don't rank them.
Here's what I want to know then.
Yes.
If you can't get credit for not winning games, shouldn't you be ranked, though, ahead of every team that's lost a game?
I mean, we are.
That's how I like to rank them. I would just, how we do in high school.
Yeah,
we
if you
just
win,
we just
you
put the
win.
standings up.
Right. If you win, you're
If
above.
you're
If you got to
if you're
lose,
7-1, you're below.
Right.
So again, this is a great segue to what we've been talking about. This is the LeBron James argument.
oh, so you think BYU should be ahead of every one-loss team in front of them?
Right. They're 4-0.
Yeah, they're 4-0. You're right. I agree.
This is the LeBron Jordan argument.
Kevin, I agree.
LeBron fans want to go.
Listen,
LeBron fans want to get voted in. And
I
Michael
agree
just
with
keeps
that
winning.
statement. I agree with that statement 100%. You cannot be punished for winning games. That's why I'm sitting here saying for North Carolina, I can't punish them for winning games against the teams that they
I got one for
play.
you. Virginia Tech is 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd they beat?
They beat NC State and Duke.
All right. So they're 23rd. Virginia Tech is 27th. I mean, NC State is 27th.
Oh, so Virginia Tech is still ranked?
Yeah, they're still ranked. Dude, they barely got beat by the 5th best team in the nation. They should be ranked.
Okay.
Ain't that how that works?
I mean-
Ain't that how that works? How we do the math?
I mean, Miami
barely got
drops
beat by the
farther.
15th.
Miami drops 6 spots, and they lost to the number 1 team in the nation. And
Right.
Virginia Tech only drops 4 spots.
They lost to the 18.
What? What?
Again, the dumbest sport.
The
The dumbest sport in America
Listen, I
is college
am with
football.
you on ranking wise. I cannot fault somebody if they are 4-0 over somebody that is 2-1. Like Tennessee right now is in the top 25 still, and they are 2-1. They behind them that have a better record than them. Iowa State is
Who beat Florida
3-1.
this weekend?
Texas A&M. A&M beat Florida.
They're not even ranked.
Yeah, they are. A&M's 11th.
Oh.
Florida's 10th.
How?
They're literally right next to each other.
How are they below them? Explain that.
Well,
College football
Florida-
fans, explain to me
Florida
how
was
you have the
fourth.
same record. I beat you, and I'm ranked below you.
Florida was 4th.
Who cares?
They dropped
that
6.
doesn't matter. It's just opinions.
Texas A&M was 21st, and they moved up 10.
But like they act like you have. Like Terry was saying, like how did they jump those? And I'm like, Terry, these are preseason opinions.
Right.
These aren't set in stone. Like,
but now these are set in stone.
that's what now. But that's when the voters do that. We're like, well, you can't jump them. Well,
Hey man, if it makes you feel any better,
Who
the
the fuck
coaches
cares?
coaches think North Carolina are 6th.
It's your ballot.
Coaches think we're 6th.
It's fucking stupid.
I don't understand. Oh, okay. In the AP top, in the Associated Press,
Yeah.
they give Georgia 1 vote to be number 1, and the coaches did not. They gave 2 votes to Ohio State, who ain't even fucking played. They haven't played. And Georgia is going on week 3 of facing a ranked opponent. What more do you want? And not only that, Georgia has to play Florida as well coming up. Let me pull up Georgia's football schedule because, oh my God, they should be ahead of everybody. They play Kentucky after Alabama this weekend, and then that's an unranked team. Then they play Florida. So in a span of 1, 2, 3, well, let's start just at
Y'all
the
might
beginning.
be number
1,
one if
2,
y'all were to
3,
beat Charlotte.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, probably. In a span of 6 weeks, we play 4 ranked opponents. Some people don't even see 4 ranked opponents in a season.
You talking about Georgia?
Yes,
Yeah.
we see that.
Georgia's got way tougher schedule than Carolina.
Then Carolina and Clemson. And Clemson sitting at 1. Yeah, Clemson played Miami this weekend. Well, they just showed you they were frauds, okay? You just knocked the damn brakes off of them. And I said this, seriously.
while you were down there messing and doing what you was doing. And I had my moment.
I forgot what I went down there for.
Oh God!
And then I had to come down here and
Get your
it was my
charger.
charger. I looked at my phone and I had like 1%.
While I had my moment talking to the people, I said, look, if Georgia beats Alabama this weekend, they should go ahead and just stamp them in the college football playoffs. Whether or not they have one loss on their record, whether they do lose to Florida. You know why? Because then we just went 3 straight weeks against not just a top 25 opponent, a top 15 opponent with a victory. Just stamp us in because we'll have a better resume through those first 4 games than Clemson will have, than Alabama will have if we do have a victory because they'll have a loss on their hands, than Florida and Ohio State could even think about it. Just mark it. Seriously, do me a favor and just mark them in there.
I hate rankings. It's so stupid.
Well, I hate rankings when it comes to this because there are too many teams to try and rank.
What if they
Seriously,
just did
there is.
just the 10?
If they did just 10, here's the thing. This is why I have a problem
because you only
with it.
need how many for the playoffs? 4? So
Right.
why do you need more than 10? That's double and a half.
I know. This is what I have a problem with college football. We have too many teams that we have to try and keep up with to try and rank. That's why, to me, it's okay if you like multiple teams because, for God's sakes, there's like 120 of them. Like, who cares? In the NFL, you have your 32. Okay. You could literally do a 1 through 32 ranking of them. We do it. But there's not 120 plus and 5 different conferences and everybody this and that. No, there are 2 divisions, NFC and AFC. If you got a good record in both of them, you're at the top. If you have a bad record in both of them, you're towards the bottom. So to me, it's the fact that there are just so many variables that come into play for college football and their rankings. It's kind of dumb. That's why
every other sport in the world is win-loss
right
and playoffs.
Would it not?
Except for this one dumb
would
sport.
it not just be easier? We talk about these Power 5 conferences all the time. Would it not just be easier for your top 25 rankings to be Power 5 conferences over here and then the top 25 rankings of your quote-unquote non-Power 5 conferences over here?
I mean, that's fine.
You'd be at the top all the time.
It's not fair. Yeah, but then you'd have the people like you say, who cares because you're number one in those. Instead of 19th or 20th in the regular poll. What I would rather them do is kind of do what they did this year and say you can only schedule
conference opponents.
Well, I would 100% want the conference opponent schedule only. But I would deal with only Power 5.
Okay.
There is no reason whatsoever for Alabama to play Western Carolina or Mercer.
Well, North Carolina's going to play Western Carolina.
I know. Yeah, neither one of them should be playing.
But that's just because they gave them that one game that was supposed to be Charlotte.
This is a weird year. What I'm saying is that they shouldn't even be playing Charlotte. They shouldn't be playing Appalachia.
Right. They should be playing another Power 5 or ACC team.
Again, if you're going to brag about ACC football is better than everybody else, why the hell are you playing against Mercer in Western? I just don't get it, and it's the only sport that does it.
It's the same thing with the SEC. I know it's the same thing. The only teams that really usually have difficult schedules are the independents because they have to go out there and just get teams to play them.
So Texas A&M beat Vanderbilt and Florida, lost to Alabama.
Yeah.
Florida beat. That really matter. They lost to Texas A&M. Just so stupid. If I beat you, I won't be ranked ahead of you.
Right.
There's no discussion.
Right.
I have no discussion with you. They beat Mississippi and South Carolina, and then lost to Texas. So beating Mississippi and South Carolina is better than beating Vanderbilt and the number 4 team in the nation, Florida.
Don't look at me. I don't make the rankings.
Dumbest ass.
I don't make the rankings. I look at them.
Again, Hunter, what's so sad about the whole thing with the college? You know what it is?
Yeah, well,
it's because these are supposed to be the educated people. like they make this. They
make it so complicated.
There's this argument, and especially in politics, they'll say people who are uneducated are educated. Well, again, Hunter,
it don't take a rocket scientist to say.
You watched Star Wars?
Yeah.
So one of the famous lines in Star Wars is Obi-Wan when he's describing to Luke about Vader. And Luke's pissed because you didn't tell him I was his real dad. And he said, well, I told you the truth from a certain point of view. And that's where I'm going with that. is that it's from a certain point of view on that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. These people think that these guys are better than they are, but head to head, Texas A&M is actually better than Florida because they just proved it. But that's not what the people that make these rankings from their point of view are saying. It's weird. It is weird, but it gives us something to talk about. It's funny, Joel Klatt, who is the college football analyst for Fox Sports, he said, don't quite agree with my top 10 or with their top 10 and put out his own top 10. He still got North Carolina 7th. I was like, yes. Yes.
I just can't wait till the Big Ten starts playing.
Cue Return of the Mac.
And bumps all them out.
It's going to happen. Them and the Big 12. They're going to, when they start playing, and unless they all just absolutely shit the bed, all it's going to take is Ohio State to win one game and they're in the top 4. Watch.
They're already 5th.
They're 6th. North Carolina's 5th.
They were 5th
in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
With a vote to be number 1.
So let's say Carolina finishes with 2 losses, Notre Dame and Miami. Where are they ranked, Hunter?
Reasonably, I would give them, if they're going to be ranked, I would at least give them in the 20s. 2 loss teams, I'm not putting you much higher. 2 to 3 loss teams, if you're like, you have great wins, but you have played tough opponents with those losses, and you got to be ranked, I would put you in between 20 to 25. So even if North Carolina has 2 losses, but you have to look at it too, because they would say at the time, depending on their rankings, since Notre Dame is ahead of them, they would say that's a good loss because you were supposed to lose that game. No one thought you would win that game. But if they lose to Miami, who's ranked lower than them, they would be like, wait, that's a bad loss. That's a bad loss. We're going to negate you from there. So,
and all the rankings are again.
So if that's the case, it's an opinion.
Opinions.
It's an opinion, even though it's not just the
What if we
L.
did this in the NFL?
It'd be tough.
Eli Manning wouldn't have any Super Bowls.
Yeah, he wouldn't get in.
Like it just,
But
like last night's game or Sunday night's game, it
So
was
now-
Cowboys
now-
and Giants. That's
yeah.
like number 27 against number 31.
yeah, it was awful. But now that I've explained it a little bit more, and I had to think, well, maybe the loss to Notre Dame, I would go as high as between 15 and 25.
Okay.
Because technically they would look at it and say, you got a good loss and you have a freaking bad loss.
Ohio State's got votes for number 1.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and they haven't even played. They got 2 votes to be number 1, and they haven't even played.
So they got Nebraska, Penn State, Rutgers, Maryland, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan State, and Michigan.
They've got 2 ranked opponents on that whole schedule.
Michigan and Penn State.
And they play one of them early, and then they play one of them last. Not only that, they're only playing 8 games. Georgia, in 6 weeks, plays 4 ranked opponents. I don't want to hear anything out of the Big Ten. Tom, I'm telling you right now, don't ever speak to me on this season about what the Big Ten, whether they're good or not. Y'all ain't playing shit. All right? Same with the Pac-12 only playing 7 games. What? Excuse me? What is this, high school? Come on now.
All right, so the story of the week, I guess, today, we're going to talk a lot of NFL on Wednesday. But the story of the week is going to be quarterbacks,
Yes.
quarterback injuries, who's playing where, who's doing what, what's going on. And so I kind of wanted to get into this a little bit. Let's start with Washington, and then we'll get into Dallas. Number 1, Hunter, if you're not the Redskins anymore, are you the Cowboys' rivals anymore?
Yes, because they still
Now, wait a
put...
minute. Cowboys, from a Cowboys perspective, and I'm just saying this from let's say a Cowboys fan perspective would be like, we're not Cowboys Indians anymore. We've kicked y'all's ass for 10 to 15 years. I don't see where the rivalry is anymore.
Yeah, you could say that.
Should Washington be like, Philadelphia is our main rival?
I don't care who it is. Right now, we ain't competing.
You're in second.
That's going to change.
Rivera said that Allen will remain the starter for now.
I hate it.
I don't know why he would be.
I hate it.
But listen,
Do you want to know why I hate it, though?
Yeah, sure.
It's because so the reports were towards the end of the week last week when they made the move for Kyle Allen. It was because 1, the locker room wanted a change, and 2, because they thought the division was still winnable.
Right.
Well, when did a team at any level, college or pro, have success when they had no idea who their damn starting quarterback week to week was going to be?
Not too many.
Exactly. So therefore, I would just throw Dwayne back out there.
Oh,
or
God,
Alex.
the players don't want that.
Or Alex.
They put him in third string.
I know they did. He's done. He's probably going to get traded within like a week or two. Watch him. They'll
You
see what
think
they
so?
watch what they.
I think they'll keep him.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do mostly because I
If he's not mature, then no.
The way it's going, we're probably going to draft one. We're probably going to just draft one. We're going to be in the same position maybe that we've been in for the past 2 or 3 years. I don't know.
If I was you guys, what I would do would be to trade Dwayne and Alex Smith
Yes.
and then draft a quarterback.
Yes. We have to.
And then you got a bunch of picks.
Seriously, I think outside of Kyle Allen, just because Ron Rivera and Scott Turner like him, they're cleaning out the quarterback room, and they're going to bring somebody in. I truly do believe that because you know it and I know it. Teams that have quarterback controversies, they just don't win. They don't win because you need to have a solidified spot filled.
I can only think of two that's ever won. That was, if you actually think about it, remember it, Peyton Manning, Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, that was the first one that popped in my mind. Brock played a playoff game, and
there was a small argument back in the day about Jeff Hostetler too, whether to keep him and get rid of Phil Simms. And they ended up getting rid of Hostetler, and he went to the Raiders. But the question was,
but needless to say, sample size very small. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work that way. So, as a Washington fan, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, look, I don't want this going back and forth. All right, if you're gonna go with Kyle Allen, cool, but he had the opportunity to come back in and play. Why didn't he do that last game? You just kept Alex Smith out there. Yeah. If you didn't want to see what Alex Smith could do, then not give him an opportunity to start next week. I don't understand. If Kyle Allen could come back in the game, why did you not let him get in the game? I'm losing faith in seeing what the direction really is that Washington wants to do. I get cleaning up the front office shit show that it is. Dan Snyder has been awfully quiet.
I think you're taking again.
But that's because of a lot of the shit that's been put out by the Washington Post about him. He has to be quiet. Ron, I don't really know if his head is 100% in football. And guess what? It probably isn't. And it doesn't, and you don't want to blame him. And I think, truthfully, it doesn't need to be 100% on football. You got cancer to fight right now, okay? I'm not, and sure, I don't know the severity, but I think you need to take care of yourself first. I'm not saying you have to step away, but maybe take a step back. Maybe let Jack Del Rio run some things really quick. Also, Jack Del Rio's defense is shitty. We are letting up almost 30 points a game. And not only that, Scott Turner should be fired as quick as they got him to Washington. That offense is horrible. How in the past 2 to 3 weeks have you only been able to score like 13 points a game? 10. I'm not saying we have the greatest weapons, but my God, I'm watching the Giants who don't have anybody. Not even their starting running back put 20 plus, almost 30 points up on the Cowboys.
So you ain't played Cowboys yet, have you?
I mean, shit.
They give up everybody.
Who scored the most points for us? Dwayne did. At the quarterback position against who? The Eagles.
You know Dallas is dead last in scoring defense now.
They're horrible. Yeah, they're horrible. That defense is bad. I'm just saying, so far, what we thought was going to be a bright side this year has just continued to just be a dumpster fire. Should I have just expected it? Absolutely. But I thought we were going to have a little bit more stability, and now that we have this quarterback controversy carousel going around right now, I realize, okay, we really don't have any stability. We just don't. We don't know what we're doing at the quarterback position. So guess what? I'm prepared for whoever we draft next year. I am all in on the Justin Fields train because Trevor Lawrence will probably be taken before him. So,
all right. Well, let me give you some stats and info real quick. And remember Trevor Lawrence's name because I got a question about him too. So I'm gonna write his name here. Bills and Bengals are giving up 25 a game. They are the average median this year, so point scoring is up by 1 point per game. However, last year we had one team gave up 30. This year there's 7 right now. Just guess how many points the Cowboys are giving up per game.
35.
36.
That was close.
Insane. 36 points a game. Put it this way, Hunter. The Baltimore Ravens have given up 15 points a game, number 1 in the NFL.
They also just played Washington and Cincinnati. But
Indianapolis, who just gave up 30-something,
the Browns
are still only giving up 17 a game.
They have a good defense. That's another team I think that's got a quarterback problem.
The Rams are 3, giving up 18 points a game.
God, they're good, man.
So the Rams, Ravens, and Colts, by average, Hunter, play 2 games worth of defense
Better
and give up less points
than
the Dallas Cowboys do per game. Now, there's a lot of ways to go from this. I got a few questions. I kind of want to jump in and out in a couple of things. One, Hunter, was it unsportsmanlike what Aaron Donald did to Alex Smith on the second or first drive there? Did you see the play?
Hitting him?
No, jumping on his back. Did you see that part of it?
I didn't see that
No,
part.
Aaron Donald grabbed him with his left hand, right? Had him by the jersey. And instead of like pulling him in and tackling him, Hunter, he literally piggybacked him. Alex Smith, who everybody in the NFL knows almost died with a broken leg, Aaron Donald, full-bodied, jumped on his shoulders. And that was the first sack that Smith took, was Aaron Donald piggybacking him. Now, I guess you didn't
First
see
of all,
it, so I'm
Aaron
going to
Donald,
pull
a
it.
big fuck you. Second of all, I don't know. I mean, now if it was intentional and malicious, then absolutely.
I think it was. I really think it was. I mean, honestly.
Because here's the thing. You don't
I hate to say that,
you
but
don't
it is.
ever want to see a player intentionally try to hurt somebody. But you do know, and I've heard many players from that used to play defense, whether on podcasts and stuff, they said, look, if we knew he was kind of hurt, though, I mean, we were going to try and give that spot a shot. And I'm sitting here thinking, first of all, Aaron Donald, you are not a small man. Why would you jump on his shoulders? You think his leg is still... Are you testing his leg? Did he ask you to do that?
That's what I always...
You think he was just testing that
I
leg?
honestly thought that.
So, and then what I would have then asked, look at Aaron Donald, be like, so what would have happened if it would have broke?
I know.
What would you have done if it would have broke and they would have had to rush him to the hospital again?
I thought you had seen it.
No, the reason why I didn't see it is because, damn it, in this area, I can't watch this game, remember?
Yeah. All right, here it is. So, all right. So that's all he's there. You see him right there, right?
Mhm.
So all he has to do is wrap him up and take him down, right?
Right.
So he has him by the shirt with his left hand.
Uh-huh.
You see that he pulls him in. Now look at that.
Mhm.
Aaron Donald jumped on his back. And I wish I could get a better view of it.
It's just so bang bang. I just don't know. I mean, but he did. He sure enough, he did. He jumped on him and wrapped his legs around him.
He straight piggybacked him. Yeah. I'm going to find this. There's another angle of it, and I'll find it in a second. But Hunter, like, honestly, I was like, wow. Look, here's the title of the video. Aaron Donald piggybacks Alex Smith is the one next one I clicked on. And hopefully they'll show a better angle of it here.
Look at that.
There it is.
What?
His leg here, yeah, this is the angle I wanted you to see. His legs are above his waist, wrapped around him. Mike, that's a kid's piggyback. So what do you think, Hunter? Now,
I just don't.
on purpose?
I don't want to say it's on purpose, but I will say this: might have just been unnecessary. He could have just taken him to the ground normally.
I mean, at worst, it was unnecessary. At best, it was unnecessary. At worst, he tried to break his leg just there.
Right. Yeah. At worst,
Hunter,
he intentionally tried to
Like, he literally...
injure him.
He jumped on his back. Have you... taking that aside, let's say that was just a reaction. Have you ever seen that before?
Someone just piggybacking a quarterback?
Right. Have
No.
you ever seen a quarterback piggyback before? Okay, so the guy with a broken leg gets piggybacked to him.
Okay. I don't know.
I'll say it.
But
He did it on
think
purpose.
about it. Everybody else that saw that has the same exact reaction to me, to my reaction to anybody speaking that Alex Smith should be out there playing. I was just like, it's just like, well, no. That's how I feel. The whole time when anybody was even saying, hey, maybe he should play, I'm like, well, now wait a minute. Now let's think about this really quick. How strong is it? I know scar tissue is technically stronger than a lot of things, but damn.
Yeah.
Like, what if somebody, and I know you're not supposed to hit low on the quarterback, but they get tripped and they go right into that sucker.
I know.
Like, that's
Well,
all.
that's the ones you worry about.
That's the crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, for him to do that right there, like I said, he could have easily sacked him without jumping on his back, right?
Best case scenario, it was just unnecessary. Worst case, he might have been trying to intentionally make that leg hurt a little bit more.
Speaking of quarterbacks, I saw yesterday that GM said that the Jets would not might not even get a second-round pick
for Sam Darnold
right now. Also in San Francisco, Garoppolo comes back into the game, and he's benched for C.J. Beathard. They still owe him 2 or 3 more years of $20-something million a year.
Mm-hmm. You were thinking about a little switchy, tradey between them.
So what's going on there? Of course, the Bears situation, they're 4-1, and hope the quarterback can not throw it to the other team 5 times.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
That's all they're doing.
You just got to pray you're getting the good Nick Foles, not the bad Nick Foles.
Yesterday, our local CBS decided to show the Cowboys and Giants, who are both literally further away than Cleveland and Indianapolis.
I think Indianapolis has a quarterback problem. I truthfully think.
Cleveland and Indy were both 3-1 coming in that game, and they showed us the trash of Cowboys and Giants. I think Philip Rivers okay, Hunter.
No,
they're 3-2.
I know they're 3-2, but have you seen his touchdown to turnover ratio?
Hey, he's letting it sling. You know why, don't you? He's got a good defense.
I know he has a good
sling
defense.
right now.
I know he is, but you had 2 picks and no touchdowns. In the week prior against the Bears, you hardly scored anyways. You got to score touchdowns. And I look.
Do they have any weapons right now?
Listen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. They still got T.Y. Hilton, and then they got what's his last name? Paris Campbell, who they drafted. Like, they've got weapons. Don't let it fool you. And they have the best offensive line in football, so he's safe to just stand there and let it rip. I got a buddy of mine, Jesse, back in the area I'm from. He's a diehard He is a diehard Colts fan. Yeah, he is a diehard Colts fan. And he came out, and I told it, and I just said it on Twitter. I said, this might be an opportunity here in the coming weeks, not now, but in the coming weeks, if Phillip still is a turnover machine, you got to just see what you have in Jacob Eason. And he said, you know what? I think you're right. He said, look, let Phillip play for the next few weeks because right now we're still winning, but if the turnovers start to be a problem and we start losing these games because of his turnovers, you got to see what you got in the guy you drafted in the 3rd round.
103 teams in the AFC North have as many wins as the NFC East.
Dude, we're trash. I know. It's a bad division.
All right, so let's talk about them Cowboys. And
Did you see it happen live?
No, I didn't see it live. I was watching the race and not that trash.
I saw it live, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, my mother walked in the other room, and I said, oh, my God. She's like, what? I was like, he just broke his ankle. He just broke his ankle. When he went down to the ground and sat up, and I saw him do this, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. And then they zoomed in on his ankle, and I wanted to throw up. That thing was sideways. You could tell something was poking out in the sock that wasn't supposed to be. Now, it wasn't bloody. That was a good thing. I'm just saying, when it happened, I was like, he just broke his ankle.
So how much money did he lose?
Too much.
$200 million?
Oh, every bit $200 to $300 million.
And the Twitter, of course, I don't know if you got on Twitter after it. It turned into, within 30 minutes, that Jerry Jones is the biggest racist in America.
I didn't see any of that.
Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to black athletes.
I didn't see any of that.
So it turned into that real quick because of the contract.
Right.
But then the other people were like, he could have accepted the 3 and 4 year deals that the Cowboys were offering.
Right.
Or whatever the 5 year deal.
I got an idea. If they want to get a quarterback, Washington will take you, Dak.
Now, before we go any further, one quick question. After seeing him lose $200 million on one play, now remember, what Aaron Donald did to Alex Smith, that could have done the same thing that happened to Dak Prescott.
Absolutely.
So that's where I was trying to get with you. Is like, is that really a dirty play on Alex Smith after you seeing Dak get his ankle broken on the guy falling on his ankle?
Right.
Aaron Donald piggybacked him. So with that said, if you're Trevor Lawrence, should you play a single, get another game?
At Clemson?
Yeah.
No. We've said this. Technically, no.
No.
Technically, no.
Absolutely not.
Technically,
if he gets hurt, Hunter, what does that mean?
Well, he can look at Tua and say, well, even Tua was hurt and got drafted in the top 10.
But he was back healthy enough.
But there's a big difference in money between getting drafted 1 and 5th or 6th.
Or 2nd round.
True.
Or 3rd round. Because again,
I will say this, though. Trevor Lawrence, even if he's injured, he's not falling farther than the 1st round.
But if his ankle turns sideways, Hunter.
Well, if it's a catastrophic injury like we thought Tua was, where his whole hip broke, then it would be a big question.
Which I will make the point. It's week 5, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is still quarterback.
He's still balling,
Tua might
too.
not be.
He's still balling.
Tua
I mean,
might not be healthy.
he just beat the 49ers,
I told you my wife had never seen Tua before.
and she's watched him walk.
Saw him walk. It's like he's got hip problems.
Yeah,
Like, she called it out. Never seen anything. Don't
could
even
be-
know who it is.
Could
Saw him
be a
on TV.
limp. Listen, even Colin saw that and said, "I think that's a limp." And Colin loves Tua.
Now, so let's stay with this Dallas thing. First of all, I'll go ahead and get the pettiness out of the way. I'm not shedding one tear for Dak Prescott. I don't care one bit that he got hurt. I don't care one bit that he might lose his job.
Well, he did make $36 million this year, guaranteed. So it doesn't
That's
matter.
the first thing. He got $36 million this year.
Yeah.
He has plenty of money for the rest of his life. Number 2, he got his job on someone else getting injured. So therefore, guess what, buddy?
This is a Tony Romo pity party.
Guess what, buddy? If you take someone's job when they get injured, you lose yours when you get injured.
I don't know if Andy Dalton outplays him, but we're about to find out. I don't think he plays bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they make the playoffs, Hunter,
We got to think about it. It's something to think about.
how much is Andy Dalton making this year?
No, he's like, what, $1 million?
$1 million.
Yeah, that's like a league minimum. Not even. I think, this
So
is
again,
barely.
and he's gonna be a free agent too.
Yeah, he will.
So again,
Come to Washington.
if you're Jerry Jones,
We just need a
no, let's
quarterback.
say you're Jerry
Fuck.
Jones and you go 8-8 this year, 9-7, you make the playoffs. Say you win the division, whatever it is, with the Rocky. Everybody's saying it's gloom and doom like Andy Dalton's bad. He's averaged 10 wins a season,
No, he's
so
not bad.
he's about to come out there and lie. Hunter, does he got better weapons now or when he was in Cleveland? Cincinnati.
Very good weapons. He's got better weapons than he's ever
So
had.
his defense might give up 30. He's going to score the same number of points that Dak would have got, in my opinion.
Who knows? Mike McCarthy might even change the offense up.
They may pound the ball. Instead of like the game before, Dak threw 58 times and Zeke ran 12 against
What
the
did
Browns.
What did they start to do towards the end of the game
I haven't
after the
looked at
Dak
those
injury?
stats. I haven't looked
They
at that
started to
stats
run the
yet.
ball. They started to use not only Zeke but Tony Pollard too. They were using their running backs like they need to.
And I noticed also as well in the Falcons game, they don't run the ball. Like they were averaging
They
like
were so successful running
they
the
were
ball.
averaging like 8-9 yards a carry.
Todd Gurley
and they
was
kept
getting
calling
me hella
passes.
points.
They kept calling passes.
He got me like 29 points. Like he had 100 and something yards on like 16 carries, not even.
Yeah, 121 on 14.
He's killing it. And they still would take him out because they told him, they were like, look, Todd's only going to get 15 to 20 touches.
Yeah.
Why? If he's eating, feed him.
These coaches gotta do what you can do. So
Well,
again, my thing with Dallas, Hunter, if you're Jerry Jones, season's over, you made the playoffs. Let's say Andy Dalton wins a playoff game.
Well, you
has
got to
as many
address
wins.
the defense.
Let's say he has as many wins as Dak. Let's wipe all that up. I don't think the defense is awful. Somebody's got to make the playoffs in that division. Somebody will.
I agree.
Let's say it is Dallas. But my whole point of it is next year you could sign Andy Dalton to a 3-year, $50 million deal, $40 million deal.
40. He just would want to play.
Or and then use, let's say, so if you're paying him $15 million a year, and you were going to pay Dak $35, that means you have $20 million to spend on your defense. Now, with that said, what did the Panthers do this year? They drafted 7 defenders.
Got Teddy. Well, their defense is still bad, but
Well, no, not anymore.
not
top
as
10.
not as
Hunter, the tides have changed in Carolina.
the tides have changed.
12th
So not top 10.
in
They're
scoring
close.
defense. Matt Rule has brought in the defense. And what he did was just draft those 7 players and made your defense better than it was. The offense pretty much is the same scoring wise as it was last year. But Hunter, last year they were giving up 28 points a game. This year they're giving up 23 and a
We're
half.
essentially saying the same thing though, because that's what I was saying. I was like, if Andy Dalton wins and so what, you get put out of the playoffs, you just have to decide I can bolster my defense and still
Right.
have Andy Dalton.
Does Jerry and the Cowboys, the best move, and I don't even want to argue about it, is letting Dak walk.
The best move is them to tank and just get the rookie contract Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields coming out. But Big D don't want to do that.
What if they like Andy Dalton?
Well, if they like him, then roll
That's what
with
I'm
him.
saying. You
But
ain't
you're
gotta worry
still,
about
but you're still giving him a couple $1 million a year on top of what you've seen the model is to win.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback on a rookie contract. That's what you've been able to do with Dak with your
You keep
success.
Andy at under 20, I think. I think
I
that's
don't know.
definitely the play.
I don't know if he gets under 20.
It'd be close.
Think about it.
Depending on the agent.
Big D,
He took one, though.
he came in and basically was the savior for your season.
Him and Jameis both took one, though.
Yeah, but that was prove it moments. That was we just want an opportunity.
And he might prove it. So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think he's going to get. What was he getting paid before? Do you remember?
I have no idea what he was getting
I don't
paid
think he
in
was in
Cincinnati.
I don't think it was in the 20s.
I'm just saying, like this model. A lot of these teams are gonna have to start looking at their quarterbacks and looking at what's coming out and saying, "Look, these guys that are coming out are just as talented, and we can get them for cheaper than the guys we have right now."
If I'm the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott does not play another game for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, he's not playing another game this year.
Well, right, and it's as simple as anything. Is that again? I can get the same production from Andy at 15% of the cost, and his ankle isn't pointing sideways. So you know who caught the only touchdown in that game yesterday for Dallas? Dak Prescott.
That's right.
He's the only one that caught
Philly
a touchdown
special.
pass yesterday.
Little Philly
for the
special.
Cowboys.
Little Philly special in Dallas.
It's insane. Like it just, yeah. I don't know.
Listen, I will say this: Andy can't come in and do much better to what Dak was doing statistically, but I think that's more on scheme. Well, scheme wise, I think about it. Dak was over 1,000 yards already through like 4 games. He had so many touchdowns. Like statistically, he was putting up numbers. It just wasn't equating to wins.
He was leading the league in passing yardage per game.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I meant by what I meant by even if he doesn't put up the numbers that Dak was, I think that just comes down to scheme. But I want you to think about that. You still let the Giants score 34 points.
Yeah. Defense is awful.
Awful.
So Andy Dalton went 9 of 11.
Yeah, but what was his yards? What was he averaging per pass? They probably played pretty conservative with him.
10. Oh, per pass or completion? Per pass,
per
10.
pass.
Exactly 10.
Okay.
Completion was about 12.
All right. Look, I don't think he's going to come in and be bad. I don't. If I'm Dallas, you have to consider seriously either Andy Dalton, depending on how it ends at the end of the season, if you have success. If you don't have success, you got to look at this draft and say, well, we had the opportunity to do what Patrick Mahomes was able to do in Kansas City. We got an explosive group of weapons around him. Just get a guy good enough, a la Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields,
either way, I think
on the
Dak
rookie
should
contract.
play again. Either way, I don't think
in
Dak
Dallas,
should play again.
You don't think he should play at all, though?
No.
Or who gives him a contract?
Yeah, he can play wherever he wants. In Dallas, I wouldn't.
I mean, if you're Dallas, you just have you have options at this point because
I mean, they were weighing options before this point.
Well, Dak was on pace. This was definitely one of those prove it years. That's what it was. I think that's why they were letting him throw it so much.
How about eight Cowboys besides Dak Prescott caught passes, and he's the only one that caught a touchdown pass?
Listen, I will never.
So weird.
They're loaded, but that defense, they ain't winning shit if it don't get together. Not only that, you want to talk about bad defenses. Who wins the East? I think Dallas wins the East.
What's the record for the win?
6-9.
Andy Dalton.
6-10.
Andy Dalton wins the East at 6-10.
6-10.
Surely to God, somebody gets 7-8 wins.
Well, then make him 7-9. I don't care. Make him 7-9. That's fine. But Philadelphia's gonna have that one tie in there, so that screws them up. Washington ain't doing shit, and neither is the Giants. And then this is the only thing I gotta say too about quarterbacks and coaching changes and whatnot. They fired the head coach and the general manager for Atlanta. Do you know who? And what have we said for weeks has been their weak point? Defense. Their defense has been bad. Do you know who they elevated to head coach? Their defensive coordinator. I said, damn, y'all really are just buying in to this bad defense, aren't you? I made a bold tweet too because I have Matt Ryan on my fantasy team. And this was like the second or third game he has not thrown a touchdown. I said I'm benching him. I would bench him today if I was the Falcons.
Just like the umpire I was arguing with the other day. People would rather double down on complete ignorance before admitting they were wrong. If people on this planet would do a better job, I would say 90% of people, if you just admit you were wrong once a day about something, this world would be a lot better place. Instead of blaming everyone else for everything that's wrong. But
I just the Falcons they got a good run game and they just don't do it. The same thing with Dallas and everywhere. And so you went ahead and your weakness was defense, and you elevate your defensive coordinator to be the guy that's really calling the shots on the team at this point, and not maybe having a guy come in that can look at your offensive coordinator and say, "Look, Julio hadn't played in 2 games.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley's dropping passes left and right. Maybe we should just start running the ball a little bit more." So I don't know.
Me or her?
Nah, it's,
I didn't know if it was mine.
It was not you.
My,
Definitely
my
not.
I know what me. I meant my children.
Oh no, not them. I don't believe so. No.
It was the noise machine.
Not at all. Yeah, that's the. Oof.
I showed Andre her album cover.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah, he loved it. What? My kid waves at me. So I'm homeschooling now, folks. What? Come here. Come here. Come here. Ask the people what you just asked me.
How much longer until the show ends?
How much longer until the show ends? Austin, we have people across the planet wanting this show to never end. So too bad. Take off. Panthers giving up 23.5 a game. Baltimore's 1, Colts 2, Rams 3, Bears 4, Arizona 5, Pittsburgh 6, Chiefs 7, Bucks 8. So yeah, as far as Dallas goes, Milton was upset this morning. He's a Cowboys fan, and he said, "What's better?" He said, "Dak shouldn't lose his job because when Romo lost his, he was hurt all the time." Romo played 4 seasons of 16 games. He played 2 seasons of 15 games. That's 6 seasons, and Dak still hasn't played 6 total seasons in his career. So before we start counting how many games we've missed,
right?
Let's
get there.
Get in perspective, and then also the games he missed his last season was because a guy kneed him in the back and broke a transverse process, which is it was a hairline fracture. They set him out 3 games. Dak won 3 games, and they left him in. So if Andy Dalton wins 3 games, Hunter, we've already set the precedent. It's over. It is. It's 100% over. They can get over. I'm sorry. We've done this before. Romo had a contract, Hunter, and it was over with him. Dak don't even have a contract.
No.
Peace out.
He's getting that 36
Take your
million.
broke ass ankle to wherever. Who needs to quit? Jacksonville. See ya.
No. Minshew. No. He's actually playing really good. He's the only bright spot for that
That
team.
could be Jets, Lions,
Washington. We'll take anybody at this point.
Hell, he could be a Giant, depending on Daniel Jones.
We'll just take anybody competent enough these days.
What about Denver?
Listen,
They're always looking for free agent quarterbacks.
Drew Lock comes back off injury, maybe, but I don't know.
New England.
But see, that's the thing, though. The amount of teams that are running out, usually have space for a quarterback because they're usually god awful. It's becoming slimmer and slimmer because they're just drafting these young guys and they're working.
What
So
about Patriots?
they might extend Cam. So probably not.
Would Dak be cheaper than Cam?
Probably not.
They might get about the same at this
Maybe.
point.
Well, think about it. Bill Belichick don't want to pay nobody no way, so
right.
it's just gonna be whichever one bites.
What about Dak in Miami?
Well, I mean, if Tua definitely is not the guy, whatever. Like there are teams that could do it, but you also have to think which ones are going to be in position for the top 3 quarterbacks coming out next year. So go ahead and mark them off.
What about the Bears?
Yeah, why not?
That's a good one.
If Nicky doesn't work out and you're done with Trubisky, there are options. There are, but you just those teams have to do what every other team has to do that has a quarterback problem. Can we find one good enough in free agency and want to pay him his price, or do we just get the young guy coming out of college? That's what I've had to do now with Washington. Sure, I would love Dak Prescott in Washington. I've given Dak a lot of flack throughout the years, but these past 2 years, he's shown, okay, he can throw the football. I don't want him throwing it 60 times, but he can throw the football. I would like him on my team. But do I want him at his price, or do I want possibly Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, or the kid out of North Dakota State coming out? I don't know. That's tough for me because then I can fill holes if I get them with other people because our defense is bad.
So am I supposed to respond to these political texts?
No, I always delete them, or sometimes they say, please text stop.
I've blocked. You can block the numbers.
Yeah,
I've always
I've
wondered
blocked
if
a
I
few
should
of
just
them.
respond to
I've blocked a few of the numbers too that will text you and they're phishing scams and they're like, Loretta, your package is. I'm like, who is Loretta?
So if they ask me, to support someone, Like, and if I say no, do they send me a text back?
And say why?
But if I say yes, like, what do they do? What's their next step? Like, I don't understand. What's the
They're
next
always
step?
like, we've never been this far.
Oh yeah, we've never got to.
We've never gotten this far. No one ever answered. They're always just like, stop. And we're just have to be like, okay.
Golly, these are funny. I've been thinking about whether I should just start responding to with random stuff, like, you know, I don't know. Do you like sitting naked in the bathtub holding apples? You know, just something. You should just. Do you peel your potatoes naked in the bathtub?
Do you like pina coladas?
Just some kind of random question.
rain.
You know, like, what do you think about Dak Prescott?
They send that to you and be like, so is Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl this year?
I've never voted in my life. Give me 3 reasons I shouldn't put my name on every one.
Do write-ins have a better chance?
Honestly, Hunter, I've been waiting 30-some years to write my name in for president.
Is this the time?
Yeah, this is the year. This is the year.
This is the year.
This is the year. 35 years old, you can be president.
Might as well. This is the year.
I've told people, I mean, it's not like if I vote for somebody and they don't win, like, might as well vote for myself.
Right.
All right. Any other news and notes on today's world and sports, Hunter?
Nope. Just go Bravos.
So Florida is sold out to Swamp and then got beat. I didn't see that. Oh, God. That's funny. Well, go Braves tonight, Hunter?
Absolutely. Go Braves.
All right, folks. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in again today on Shock Jock Sports Talk. It's been live. Joe Morgan died today. There's
I did see that.
passing away. Morgan probably in the argument for best second baseman ever. If you're going to have a top 5, I'll say give him definitely top 10, maybe top 5. We'll say that. There's some people that say the greatest. The numbers don't say that. That's the whole argument of. I don't know. He was kind of the Derek Jeter of that of those Reds teams, to where he was good, but
was he the best player?
Pete Rose may have been.
Never know.
Yeah. All right. Wednesday we'll do NFL Power Rankings. We'll have a new number 1, baby.
Yes.
The curtain is going to take over number 1. I tried to do it last week and Hunter wouldn't let me.
Ah.
And then now, I will say this, Hunter. Seattle's defense is not too swell.
Hell no, they are.
They're
bad.
giving up 27 a
They're
game.
bad.
And Pittsburgh's giving up 22, a whole touchdown less. Baltimore's giving up 15. So, and what they did with Lamar, real quick, is you got a running quarterback, you got to have a good defense. You have to, and that's what they're doing. All right, as soon as I find this button, I'll start playing it and get everybody out here. Wednesday, see you guys. Shock Jocks, Kevin Hastings, Hunter Yancey. We'll have our NFL Power Rankings. Zach should be in the house, cousin Zach, to do that. We'll talk the games. We'll go through all the games, and we'll have updates of Braves baseball after 2 games. Yep, we'll be able to talk about that.
Yep.
And then, I guess, no NBA. We'll talk NASCAR Wednesday, the Roval that happened this weekend with the rain. I want to talk a ton about that. And maybe a little bit more. We'll see you guys. Maybe a Mount Rushmore or something. We haven't done one of those. We'll see you guys on Wednesday, 2 o'clock, KTC Broadcasting.